I want to talk about personal growth, what I'm doing. I want to talk about 75 hard, my failures, what I'm doing with this company I'm starting out, and I want to make sure that I'm not diluting myself. And heaven knows you probably won't let me dilute myself, which is I appreciate that.
Now I'll try to give you a reality check on whatever it is you're thinking.
There we go. That's exactly right. So,
Or maybe we need a jujitsu reality check.
hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. This is where we discuss current events, personal growth, and any other random topic that crosses our minds. Our goal is to have a meaningful discussion that help us to see the topics we discuss more clearly. Our hope is we can help you expand your self-awareness, develop your critical thinking, and learn to be less reactive to the world around you. And most importantly, remember, be curious. If you like what you hear, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment. We want to hear what you think. Here it is, Chris, podcast number 37 if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's the number 37.
That's amazing. We're not arguing about stuff. That's amazing. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Well, it's just the beginning.
It's
We have
just
to
the
work
beginning.
up to our arguments.
We got to work up to it.
Come
AJ.
on. You
So,
know,
hey, man.
yeah, what?
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry. Actually, I'm sure you'll say something I don't like. Don't worry. So
Or you'll
anyway,
get bored.
yeah, I'll get bored or something like that. Yeah. Hey, so listen, this is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about me. And
Okay,
what
and this
I'm
is a
doing.
new topic?
Yeah, exactly. I want to talk about personal growth, what I'm doing. I want to talk about 75 hard, my failures, what I'm doing with this company I'm starting out. And I want to make sure that I'm not diluting myself. And heaven knows you probably won't let me dilute myself, which is I appreciate that.
Now I'll try to give you a reality check on whatever it is you're thinking.
There we go. That's exactly right. So,
Or maybe we need a jujitsu reality check.
jiu-jitsu, yeah, exactly. I gave a Toastmaster speech today on jiu-jitsu, of course, right? What's new?
Mm-hmm.
What's new? So anyways, this is what I'm thinking, Chris. This is what
Okay.
I'm thinking. So the 75 hard was actually pretty easy for me. I did it, I think I got like 6 or 7 days straight. But my sleep
Mhm.
was just horrible. I mean, I was literally waking up like 10 times a night. And I went to see my doctor, and he's like, "You got to stop drinking so much water. I mean, this is not good for you." He says, "I get the mental game, but if you lose sleep, then you're not going to be productive, and you can't do your business." Blah 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 blah. Right? So I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I need to come up with another solution, and then I built my own plan. I call it like Scott 30-day plan or something, some transition into it. So I want to talk about it's not like I have to do 75 hard. I'm doing 75 hard because of my lack of discipline. I want to build discipline. But whatever builds discipline in order to execute on my profit trigger stuff, that's ultimately my goal. So I don't want to do something just for the sake of doing something. So first of all, let's talk about that premise. Is that premise reasonable, or can you push back on that?
Depends on your intent. Or it depends on what's driving this, right? So it's a reasonable. We talked a little bit about this in Toastmasters today. Is it an excuse, or is it a smart reframe of what you're trying to do? I think is
Yeah,
what we
right.
need to come to.
Right.
Are you not? Are you making this change because I don't want to do that other thing, or are you making this change because this is actually a better course for you? I think you need to kind of figure that out. So, I get the logic of everything behind it.
Yeah.
My question is, you said you don't want to do something just to do something, right? And I would argue to an extent, the whole idea of taking on this discipline plan of 75 hard was
Yeah.
to do something even though you don't like the premise, even though you don't like, some of the other things. Now I understand the health aspect of drinking the water. One question that came to mind as you were talking about building your own kind of plan is,
Yeah.
are you thinking you can't get to a gallon of water a day? Or it's just right now, just taking it on is just too hard at the moment?
Well, I think chat recommended that I abandon this as well too. But it said let's replace it with something as hard or even harder. because the discipline part is the key thing I'm trying to get to. I'm not trying to get to a gallon of water a day. I'm trying to get to the discipline so that I execute my business better. That's my
Okay, and
outcome.
again, I don't like the gallon a day either, particularly if I'm trying to drink coffee and tea, because that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But I think the thought I have is the fact that you don't like it and you're doing it is part of the discipline. So if you come up
Yeah.
with something else, it's got to be equally as annoying,
Yes.
equally as difficult to overcome.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's going to be a harder thing to judge, because I think you're adding your goal setting into it as well, which means that actually, no, I want this more. It's a higher priority because I'm going to get a result more aligned with some other goal that I've got. In which case it isn't an apples to apples comparison. So, is picking a task that is actually going to get you further towards your building a company goal actually an equivalent to getting to this thing that you're getting rid of? Because in essence, you've got a different drive. It's like, no, I want that. You don't want to drink the water simply because it's going to help your business. There's no tie in there. But if you find something that's going to help your business, then the motivation changes, and then the discipline, the mental discipline required to do it changes.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt about that. But I will tell you something: building a business is really hard.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying the mindset of what you're doing, the actual task discipline that you're doing, will have a different motivation, and that different motivation means that you're whatever discipline you're building is not the same type of discipline. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah,
And so the question that I think,
yeah, that's reasonable. The whole thing that drove this actually was my goal, my outcome is to build this business, and then so I ran previous transcripts through chat, and I said, chat, what is my weak strengths and weaknesses, and in order to hit these certain revenue goals that I have. And chat came back and said 2 problems you have. One is discipline problem, and the other is I babble, right, and clarity in speech. Those are my 2 problems that would affect by hitting my revenue goals. And I'm like, okay, how can I help with discipline? That's where I came up with 75 hard. So I'm not doing the 75 hard to get discipline. I'm ultimately, all I want is I want to drive certain revenue numbers in my business.
But the idea was that the discipline would allow you to do that better, right? It's a tool or a skill that you would develop to get better at that.
Yes, right, exactly. Right. I'm not doing 75 hard to say I can do 75. I could care less whether I wear that badge or not. Mm-hmm. It's like I want to hit the numbers in my business. That's my goal.
Have you looked up online, not going through chat or anything, just actually looked up what other people have done as alternatives to 75 hard?
Well, I didn't do that. I ran through chat, and so I just started stacking
I understand.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, other people must have had the same issue or similar issues where they couldn't do it. So there's got to be some discussion around it. I'm kind of seeing where other people landed on this might help you to see, okay, so these were people engineered, developed a plan that does a similar type of thing, right? And then you would know that if the changes you're proposing are out of whack or not.
Oh, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I haven't really done that. I did most of the research through chat. And then I said, I want to make this harder than 75 hard. And so based on a score, I said, okay, evaluate 75 hard as a score of 100, a baseline. And then based upon these tasks, it would just tell me which number it was. I started at 95 and then I worked it up to 115.
But 100 based on what? If that was 100 based on what? What are you basing that scoring off of?
Based on the ability in my particular case with scanning in probably 10 podcast transcripts, my weakness, plugging in the 75 hard program to gain discipline to hit my numbers versus doing something else to gain discipline to hit my numbers. So in chat evaluated that, and I said,
one thing I might recommend doing is go back to that chat and say, what are the dimensions that you're measuring this hardness off of, and see what it says, right? So measure the 75 hard plan against me. Why you think it's 100? It's 100% hard for me.
Yeah.
And then using those same criteria, measure this other thing I've got. And if it's as hard or harder, then I think you can be relatively comfortable that you've done your due diligence to develop a plan. Whereas if it comes back and says, well, actually these things are easier for you to do, so they're hard. They might be hard for someone else to do. It might be hard for me to do, but easy for you to do. In which case, maybe it isn't as hard, right? But I'm wondering if you can get to an objective comparison.
Yeah, I'll try that and see. I don't know. I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
And see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but right now, in essence of doing that, I mean, chat gave this new one a score of 115. I don't know the criteria it used. Maybe just general stuff. And I'll tell you what I've added. Right. I've added taking a cold shower, which I hate. But that builds.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it soon, though.
Yeah, I've been doing it a week, and I don't love it so far. Actually,
What you're gonna do is you're gonna hate the shower. You're gonna love how you feel afterwards.
Yeah, right. There you go. Well, that's the whole point of 75 Hard is like I hate the process, but I love the results of the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
I did cold showers for a whole year.
Oh, okay.
And I'm telling you, cold showers in Southern California do not rate the same as Northern California when it comes to cold showers.
Yeah,
the ground isn't as cold down here.
Yeah,
groundwater temperatures, yeah. So when I was doing cold showers up in Northern California in October, it was cold.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm tightening my time up on my workouts. So I just went to one workout, but I have no problem going to the two. I mean, I think that's fine. In fact, I really like the morning workout because you get out in the morning, you get sunlight in your eyes. It's actually a very peaceful time for me. So I actually enjoy it. And in fact, I kind of miss it. So I just may add that back in just because, right? Another 45 minutes because I can go out. I don't do anything hard. I just do basic like chair sort of stretching, moving, some version of just stretching. And then I get to think. It's like, just dedicated time to think about what's my day, what's my structure, what problems am I having. So I may add that back in anyways, so.
Yeah, as we were kind of hinting at earlier before we started recording earlier today, I think part of the challenge is not just the workout, but it's the fact that there's two of them. They have to be a certain amount of time apart, and that you have to be disciplined and rigorous in setting aside that time. So I think there's value in adding it back in, not just the experience you're getting, but also in kind of that aspect of the discipline.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'll add that back in. I mean, to me, that's good actually. I'm trying to get set wake up times because in order to get all the stuff in for 75 Hard, you got to wake up a certain time because I have certain meetings in the morning I had to do. So I backtrack and I got to prepare and I got to do this. So that means I got to get up at this time. That means I got to go to bed at this time. And so I'm putting more structure in. So that structure's kept, right? I maintained that same structure. Which is
the issue I have is that I'm having all these 7 to 9 p.m. meetings on Zoom, which means that I have to do my second workout either before that, which is tough, or after that, which I'm tired at that point. So it's actually more of a struggle for me because that last one is and then the other issue is that when my daughter was younger, I would have hours at the end of her day after she went to bed to just decompress. She's now staying up later and later, so my time window is getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, so. Right. So you got to work out the time problem, right? How do you fit this in? Because my first problem is like, oh my gosh, I'm already so busy. How do I fit all this other sort of stuff in? And one thing I realized, even just doing 75 Hard for a week, is that I mismanage my time so much. Like it was crazy how much I mismanaged it. So then when I went back and started adjusting my schedule, I'm finding my productivity is going way up in business stuff. I mean, way up.
Good.
Which is like awesome. So it's working. So whatever I'm doing is working. I'm also tightening my eating up. I'm stopping my drinking way soon. Like I don't have a drink. Typically, I like before this, I probably won't eat or drink anymore today. And the first 2 or 3 days was a problem, but it's not a problem anymore. And it doesn't really affect my sleep that much. Now, I tell you, I'm back up. And Chris, I may be back to 75 Hard really soon because I'm back up to 3 full cups right now. All I need is 1 more cup, and I'm up to my gallon.
And that's what I was wondering about is it just that you haven't acclimated yet? And because I think you can acclimate to a gallon, but again, timing's going to be important, right?
Yeah. Right.
Because what I find is I try to get the gallon in by about 7 p.m.
Oh, 7 p.m. Okay. All right.
Right. Which means it's now lunchtime. well, me, it's almost 1:30. I'm now on my third quart of water,
Okay, gotcha. There you go.
so I still have time to get through through another quart after this. But
Yeah.
yeah. But to Dan's point, you don't want to be at 9 p.m. with another half gallon to go.
Nope. That's a really bad. And another thing that does is it teaches you, okay, I got to plan this out because, I need to start drinking now, right? And so you don't run up against the roadblock and screw yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
You
means,
broke up. You broke up there just a moment. It froze
yeah,
for
I
just
think
a moment.
I've got a new upload thing, Chris. And the good thing is on the podcast, it'll all make sense, right? Because it'll upload afterwards. But
Yeah.
I'm having horrible internet problems, and we can do a tangent and talk about that if you want. But um,
Not unless there's something critical thinking associated with it.
no, I'll just do one quick tangent and immediately come back. Less than 15 seconds is there's just really no good options here, Cox, and their upload speed is horrible, and they don't care, and they won't do anything about it. So I ordered Starlink the other day, and I got my Starlink in. It's getting installed next week on the 21st. So we'll see if Starlink doesn't help things out.
Starlink's pretty pricey, isn't it? How much is it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, it was 120 a month, and it was like 175 for the dish or something like that. But it doesn't matter because I need internet for my business. So whatever, it doesn't matter, right?
No, I get it. I was talking to someone last week or the week before who was really excited about one of the other companies, not Starlink, but one of the other ones that's just out there doing that. Is it Amazon or who? I don't know who's doing it, but there's a
I don't
couple other
know.
companies making that.
There's no one. I know Starlink is in low Earth orbit, so the latency time is less because the satellites are much closer. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm gonna get installed. We'll see. We'll see how it works. So, anyways, that's my problem with the internet. So, anyways, let's go back. Where were we? Where were we? I don't want to.
You were doing 75 hard. What other changes have you made?
Okay, so another thing is I've got a journal every day, which is not in 75 hard. So I'm actually enjoying that. Um, I am increasing my workout intensity where I'm like pushing during that 45 minute, I'm pushing hard actually. And
Well,
I
that's
think I
good.
need to push harder. I need to push harder because those last few reps when it's just burning and you don't want to do it, I need to push past that. So I've been watching Dr. Mike. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Mike or not. He's
You
kind of a
keep
good
asking me
guy
that
to
every time.
watch.
Every time you talk about him, you ask me that question.
Yeah. Okay. I keep forgetting dementia or something, is kicking in. So anyways, I like him and pretty much everybody says it's like, if you want to build muscle, it's like, it's hard. It's really hard to do. So it sucks. So I did my workout right before this.
Especially over 40, over 50, it gets really tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm almost 60, man, like coming up in a few months. So anyways, but you got to build muscle because otherwise, more muscle equal better. Pretty much everybody says that. So I'm like, okay, got it. I'll do that.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are in you or I are in danger of being too muscular by any means.
No. I know one doctor said, no 90-year-old is ever going to complain. I just have too much muscle.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
I think we
not
can
going to
even
happen.
if I were to sit there and work out 7-8 hours a day, I'm not going to get to the point where it's going to be bad for me.
Yeah, no, I doubt. I mean, you could have overuse injuries potentially. I mean, there is a case to be bad for it. You could lift too heavy and you could actually damage tendons or pull things or get injuries. I mean, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be stupid about it, but I got to push harder. So, anyways, I'm doing that. I'm really tight on my bedtimes now. I typically start my wind down at like 8:30. I sit
Good.
there, I'm controlling my blue light. I mean, I'm controlling all of these things because my key thing is I got to optimize my sleep because sleep appears to be the foundation of everything.
So have you done a light audit of your room?
It's pretty dark. I mean, it's what I do is I turn all the lights out. This is a long time ago, probably a year ago. I got these little red lights. They're designed for sleep, so I still have a little bit of light to move around, but it's red light, so apparently that doesn't
Red is
affect you.
better. I've got all these stickers. At one point, I was getting one of those monthly boxes for biohackers, and they have these
Yeah.
stickers you put on all the LEDs in the room to turn them into red light, basically.
Oh, cool.
I've got
Okay, to control it too.
yeah, so I've got those. The other thing is, of course, your blackout curtains to make sure that you do that, and then temperature control in that room, right? You
Yeah,
want
I
the
turned the
temperature to
temperature
be
down.
cool.
Yeah,
Shelly
I
doesn't
go down to
complain.
70. What's that?
Shelly doesn't complain.
No. I don't complain. So I
Oh
turn it down
no,
to
Meg
70
would
at night, which is good.
Megan
Yeah,
would
I could
complain
go
if it went that
cooler.
cold. So I've got the
Yeah.
fan on me into the entire time when I'm asleep.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I'm using a cotton blanket, right? So yeah, I don't wake up really hot. Occasionally I do, but not very often. It's funny too because if I eat, if I finish all my food by like my absolute hard deadline is 6 o'clock. I really like to finish maybe by 4 or 5. Then I have more time to digest. So that seems like it's helping my sleep a little bit. So there's a bunch of little
yeah,
things. So
you want at
really,
least
what
3 hours.
I may work my way up into doing my harder program. All I need to do is I need to add back in the water, and then I'm and add back in my morning workout, which I'm fine doing. That's perfect for me. Then I'm back to 75 hard plus actually, which is kind of cool. So maybe I'm not that far away from it.
How are you journaling? What are you using to journal?
Piece of paper and a pen, just a notebook,
Okay.
nothing fancy.
This
Sorry.
week, yeah, so I've been using Obsidian for the last couple of weeks, doing my journaling in that,
Okay, all right.
and I created a template for a journal, and it's got all the macros on it to pick today's date, and it's got links to go to yesterday and the links to go tomorrow and all that kind of stuff. But the other thing I did was my chats in ChatGPT and Claude. I've got way too many chats for me to go find
Yeah, I
stuff,
do too.
right? And
They're
then just
it's
the
crazy
library.
outrageous.
So I started this new thing where I make one chat for the day and I label it the day for that day,
Yeah, gotcha.
and then I put in a prompt at the beginning that teaches it how I'm interacting with it. And before the end of the day, I say, let's do a topic review, everything that we talked about today. And it brings up everything. And I say, okay, I want you to make Obsidian notes for these 3 topics. Now give me
Gotcha.
the summary of everything we talked about for the day
Yeah,
in Markdown language. I cut and paste that over into Obsidian, and then it automatically creates the extra notes and stuff I want. But
yeah,
the nice thing is Obsidian is much easier to search through. So when I go, hey, when did I talk about that thing about, whatever it was about hurricanes in Florida or whatever, and it'll say, oh yeah, that was on this date, and then I can go back into chat and then find that
yeah,
particular day's log.
yeah,
As long as I'm not overusing or hitting the context limits for a chat,
yeah.
which I don't generally do within one day. I tend to do that across days, but within
Okay,
one
yeah,
day I don't tend to do that. Then it's
yeah.
working for me. So I've been that's my new kind of logging daily log that
Oh,
I do.
that's cool. Yeah, I do paper and pen just because I do it at night and I don't want the blue screen exposure. So I
Well, you
write
can put on the
old
blue screen
fashioned.
filter, can't you? Makes everything look yellow.
I don't really do that because I don't really trust it. Actually, I just rather do it like on paper. There's just something for me about actual paper that's more engaging. I don't know. I don't know. So that's my thing.
I like paper.
Um,
I like paper. I just
yeah,
don't like how hard it is to go back and find stuff.
yeah. It's not hard. You just flip back. I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, I don't know. I haven't found it ever be a problem, but
Ooh. When you start
so
going through hundreds of
um,
pages.
yeah. Um, So that's kind of it, Chris. I think there's a few more. I can't remember right now. I have a whole list that I typically check off. Oh, read the 10 pages. Um, so yeah, so that's it. So if there's anything you can think that I can add in. Oh, and here's the problem is I have not yet actually completed one day because I'm still dropping out stuff. So maybe it's too hard. I don't know. Maybe it's too hard.
Yeah, I think one of the values of the 75 hard is there's only 5 things. How many things are
Yeah.
there on your list?
I got about 19 or 20 actually.
Yeah,
Because
I think
I
you may
wanted
need
to
to.
make it harder, right? That was the whole idea.
So I think you either need to get rid of a few and make the others make some of them harder than they are, so you still get the hardness, but without having so many tasks.
But
Or
that's
maybe
part
you
of the
combine a
hardness
few.
though.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that's part of the hardness. You got to remember to check each thing off. It's just a drain, man. It's just hard.
Yeah. Well, what type of hardness do you want? I mean, if it makes it so it's unlikely that you're going to complete it, then I think that you may be over engineering it.
It could be. Oh,
Actually,
no doubt.
it feels like you're over engineering this to me.
It
Actually, is
could.
what
It
it
could
feels like.
very well likely could be. Actually, it could be. But the whole thing is I want to be more self disciplined so I can hit my company numbers. That's what I need to do. And there's a lot of pressure on me. I mean, there's a lot of pressure because now um, it's officially launched. It's out. My business cards are done. I still have website stuff to do. And now I'm going out networking. it's just like, I'm like, literally, man, I wake up at the beginning of the day and I'm like running the whole day, Chris. I'm just like, how am I going to get all this stuff done? That's
So
where I am right now.
what's your target audience?
Small businesses. So I just joined the Chamber of Business, Fort Smith Chamber of Commerce. Actually, over 1,000 businesses in there, and man, they've got a lot of meetings. And so what I've can we switch off this one just for a minute? We can come back if you want later. So my second problem is I tend to not be clear and I tend to babble. So this is what I was working on yesterday for 2 or 3 hours. I've developed 33 specific talking points that I want to get like razor sharp, and I'm going to memorize these things. And so my plan is when I go to a meeting, it's like scales on music or jujitsu moves. It's like now you can take and you can combine these and you can riff these things together in no matter what conversation you have. And man, it's like I'll be like sharp, like precise numbers. And that's my goal. And I just started it yesterday. And so now, and then what I had it do is I had it give me all the 33 and then give me avatar simulations, like common questions that I'll get. And then what are my responses? And I'm just going to like burn these responses into my brain. So it's just boom, That's my
So
goal.
one of the things that the personal branding course that I took had us create quantified descriptions of things that we've accomplished. Right.
Yeah, right.
So
Exactly.
I saved the company $5 million by doing X.
Yes, right.
We cut processing time by 50% by doing Y.
Yeah.
And then on my schedule every morning at 8 a.m., I read through these vocally out loud so that they get stuck in my head. And the goal isn't to memorize them. The goal is to internalize them so that in a conversation, I can just, in essence, reply, right? And just have it on the tip of my tongue. Just, oh yeah, this.
Chris,
Oh, yeah,
my
that. Oh, you
internet's-
mentioned this. Yeah, and then you give them the response.
Yeah, my internet broke up. I think I heard what you said, but yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's basically the jujitsu. You don't have to think on the spot. There's actually no thinking required. You can now, everything's pre-done. You know what's going to happen. No matter if they say this, I say this, right? And it's built in because now,
Well, it's internalized, and you can adjust. You can adjust on the fly.
Oh, yeah,
they
dynamic.
they came in from the side a little differently. Oh, well, that just means I pivot this a little bit and come and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it becomes automatic. So now what you can do is now you don't have to think what you're going to say. Now you can actually spend more time actually listening to what they say and understanding what they say instead of like stop listening to what they say and think, oh, what am I going to say next? And so for me, that's a form of love. That's a form of actually paying attention to somebody else instead of me trying to just, think what I'm going to say.
Well, Scott, of these 33 that you've got, can you boil it down to like the 3 most important?
Yeah. So one of my statements, I did a lot of research. The average business, actually across the whole country, loses about, or leaks. I call it a leak. I call it a profit leak. Anywhere from $6,000 to $9,000 of profit per $100,000 in revenue due to operational efficiencies. Here in our
6 to 9%.
Yeah, exactly. Per 100.
Okay.
That's correct. 6 to 9. Of that, the average typical business, and this is averages, run on a profit margin of about 8.5%. So if they're really bad, it means now you can make things better, and you can almost get a 2x increase if they're really goofed up, and sometimes a 3x increase in operational efficiency by just putting in systems. And the most common things are they don't follow up, they don't return phone calls, they don't check on quotes. These are simple things to patch and fix. But small businesses, they don't do that. And when I say small, I mean revenue anywhere from $500,000 to $2 million in revenue. These are the ones that are going to be showing up in my chamber sort of event. So I'm figuring out the technology to patch those particular leaks at a variable affordable price. Another pitch that I'm working on doing is that now I can bring enterprise level dashboards that are very expensive if you're on the enterprise plan, very affordable to this small little business place, these small little business. And I understand their pain. I know what they're looking for. They want clarity, they want control, and they want more cash. Those are the big things they want. And when we start putting systems in their business, they can start to get that. Now, here's the cool thing, Chris. It gets even better. Because as you start freeing up more and more of your time. And this is not taking any jobs away. What this is doing is it's freeing up the most laborious tasks so their people can now spend time generating more value for clients and getting more time to spend. And when we do that, typically what we start to see happening is you get more efficient. You now almost automatically, without any additional marketing or advertising, will typically get a bump of anywhere from 10 to 20% more in top line revenue. So now you've got more top line revenue and you're more efficient. Man, that can drive profits up 2, 3, 4 times actually. So that's my target. That's my promise. And that's what I'm going to spend the
that's
rest
your
of this
narrative
year.
right now, right?
That's my narrative. Yes, exactly. Now I need to tighten that up more. I need to get more precise, get my numbers precise. And then I've developed something called a leak check. In fact, if you want, you can go online and check it out right now and tell me what you think of it. You can go to ptleakcheck.com and there's a quiz that I've coded that generates their estimated leak check based upon 7 questions. 7 questions, 3 minutes to tell you what your leak is. So, oh, by the way, on Monday, I spent all day. Holy crap, man. Let's go back to ChatGPT, the new 5.0 stuff. It wrote all the code, Chris, all the code. I thought I was going to have to write it, and it's really good code. And I'm a damn good JavaScript programmer.
This is web code. This is website. This is web code. What kind of code is this?
Yeah, this is HTML, JavaScript code, CSS, to put on a website. And it's beautiful. I mean, pull it up. Can you pull it up right now? I'm just curious to see what you think. Get your immediate thing. I mean, it looks like beautiful code. Not beautiful code, I'm sorry, but it looks pretty. And it flows and it works and it's really smooth. It's not connected up to the back end now, but
all right. Home of the profit trigger leak, right? Okay, it's clean. Looks good overall. The TM and the trademark there is hard to read.
Okay, I'll clear that. Thanks for
that. It's just where it's put. That's all. So there's two text overlay. Okay, yeah. Okay, you got the questions. You want me to go through this?
Yeah, just go through it. It's less than 3 minutes. So that was what I did
2 to 3 days.
And it's got animation. It's got motion. It works on mobile pretty darn good.
Paper calendar or whiteboard? No, digital calendar, manual confirmations. That's probably what most people do. What happens after you send a quote or a proposal? Manual follow-up once or twice, probably. How standardized are your main business processes? Some processes documented and loosely followed. How often do you review business metrics and KPIs? Quarterly or when taxes are due? How do you stay connected with past customers? Occasional email blasts or mailers. So pretty much I'm giving you a B across the board of what someone might say.
All right.
All right. So 35 score out of 100. So 100 would be like a really well-run business. Is that what that is?
No, 100 means you're bleeding. That's how much your leak is.
Okay, so 0 would be a really well-run business.
And it should say that on there. There should be a little tiny description that indicates that score range on there.
I'm not seeing that. You might need to clarify that. Anyway, all right. So it's saying I could save 4.5% per basically per 100K. So 4.5% roughly is what they're saying. Yeah. And then it's prompting me for my contact info. Okay, makes sense to me. It's your quick little freebie, right? And you're telling them you could make them $4,500 a year, assuming they're only making 100K. If they're a $500,000 business, that's 22K a year. Right. So.
Well, no, per 100K of revenue. So whatever their revenue is, you have to multiply that.
Yeah, I'm saying so. If it's 500K, then that's their revenue would be 5 times 4.4.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. So that's my little lead coming in tool, and then what it does, it doesn't do this now, but it'll tie into an email sequence that'll give them their top 3 profit leaks and some real simple suggestions on how to start plugging them. And then it drives to a free consult, which I do a 30-minute Zoom call. We talk about it. I get specific based on industry. And then we go to something called a blueprint, that's the first time I ask money. That's a $500 blueprint that now I go into depth and I give them solutions for this. And then if they like that, then it's an implementation fee somewhere between $3,000 and $10,000 to implement the solution. And then I drive them to an ongoing retainer fee, which is a Sentinel, which Mike puts like ongoing eyeballs onto their business on a monthly basis. So it took me a long time, and I've never done this. I've never built out the structure of a business like this before. I always started with the tech, Now I got the structure. Now I just build the tech in, and then for the
Yeah, I mean
next,
the text, the tool, the business process is something else, right? So basically, then your ongoing is whatever tools you've built, systems and tools you've built for them, and then monitoring of that is what you're giving them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my plan is what I want to try to get to, right, to make this a no-brainer for them to say yes, is my implementation fee to put the system in will be 1 month of profit leak, whatever their business is. So I'm like, okay, they can absorb that, right? For 1 month, that's their fee. That's
So
what I'm trying to get the numbers to work out to be.
so if it let's say the total calculation, so it was 4,000 something rather for 100,000. So if I'm making if my revenue is 300,000 a year, that's
Let's do a million
12,000 a
just to
year.
make the math either. Just yeah.
Well, I was trying to get it into a multiple of 12. That's what I was trying to do.
Okay.
So
All right.
if it's 300,000, then roughly it's like 12K a year that you're seeing as potential savings. So
Yeah, but that
you
300,
would
that's not, I'm not
it's
going
not
that
it's
low
not
because
big enough to hit your 3K to 10K. So that's why you
yeah,
want. Okay, so all right, so
yeah,
let's say it's 900,000. So it's can we use a million? That's fine. And
yeah, fine.
savings is going to be, let's say savings is 12K for
Yeah, right.
that.
There you go.
No, I meant as well 36K because you want to make it 3K.
Yeah, right.
So then you take a 12th of that, 1 month's worth, so 3K implementation fee. They would get whatever tools would help them gain benefit out of whatever they're having a pain point with. And then you would monitor that information to give them, well, part of it is to justify the fact that you're giving them these benefits,
Yeah,
but
right.
also for them to see how healthy their business is running now versus before, right?
Yeah. And there'll be an ongoing
Okay.
monthly fee for the tools that I plug in or whatever.
Yeah.
That'll be
Well,
very high
and
margin
the
for me as well.
monitoring, I assume,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
monitoring
exactly.
as well. Yeah.
And they may not do that. They may not. I may have AI monitor it, but if they want me personally monitored, then that's where we do at least 1,000 a month, sort of retainer fee, something. So
Hmm.
I don't know if it'll work, but I think if I can use AI to do it, I'm hoping I can do like an implementation of like a couple hours where AI will like build out most of the stuff for me and plug it in. I'm thinking I might scale. I'm sure there's going to be a million things that are going to try to break that, but I'm thinking I might have built a pretty good model that will work.
Well, is that if you're going to give them the ongoing monitoring and the like, and give them feedback as to what's going on, is this tying into like a business coaching kind of a thing as well?
Yeah, that'll be, I need at least $1,000 a month to do that. Otherwise, AI will monitor it through dashboards for
Yeah, but
them.
you give them a certain amount of hours a month based upon this, then you give them a
Yeah.
certain product output report, whatever it is that allows them to see this.
Yeah, like some sort of
Obviously,
like, yeah,
yeah,
like I want to do
obviously on the
it.
obviously on the back end, you would have AI and the monitoring tools do as much of that as possible, but you would still help them interpret it and help them understand it and have potential recommendations on actions they could take or something, and they
Yeah,
would get
and
the
I may
benefit of
plug in a
that,
new
right?
profit thing. Yeah, maybe they get one thing a month or something. I haven't worked totally that out. I just need to get like 5 or 10 like cases, customers, and then I can work out the exact numbers. And then I have another product that I can't remember what the name of it is right now. But it's like an ongoing sort of AI mastermind sort of thing. I'm thinking like $200 a month. If they're like they can't afford it, I'm like, okay, let's come in and I'll get like 10 people at $200 a month. It'll be like, a couple hours of Zoom a month. Like a typical mastermind call.
Oh,
So
just
I
like
want to
just a
develop
basic
that as well.
how to think about AI more than anything else,
Yeah,
or
how to think about AI, how to use AI, how to
okay,
implement AI in your business. And those might be
yeah.
fine for the small guys. If you're doing a couple $100,000 a year, they could probably afford 200 a month to be with like-minded business owners
Well,
and be having
at
them
a
walk through stuff.
at that small range, then I'm assuming what you're talking about is them using off the shelf or products that cost them 20 to $100 a month at most that they're going to be buying to help fix one task in their company or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
really cheap. Yeah, exactly. Right. And this is a mastermind. So really, there's no product deliverability other than maybe 2 to 3 hours a month of my time where we can get on a Zoom call, like a group
Yeah.
Zoom
I-
coaching
Well,
call.
also, once you've done it for a while, you can build a library of videos. You can build a
Yep.
library of content that you've got that then
Yep.
they can access as long as they stay a monthly member, right? So the
Yeah.
membership
Yep.
aspect
Correct.
of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the plan. So it
You can have an
feels like,
FAQ or a forum, right? An
yeah, I
FAQ
can
or a
have all
forum
that.
where they can ask questions. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know how exactly that's going to look. I don't know how the implementation is going to be, but just as a model, I think it makes sense. So I don't know. I'll have to try it, see. So that's what I've been building out. That's what I've been working on. And I need discipline to make it happen. So that's the whole point for 75 hard.
No, back to your other point, though. You said you had your 33 talking points, and I asked if you can get it down to 3, and then you gave me your narrative. I still want to go
Yeah.
back to this. Have you identified the most important 3 things that if you've got 20 seconds or 30 seconds, those are the things you're gonna bring out?
I have not identified, but I'm going to pull probably I have the number 1, which is on my business card. It's everywhere. Is that
your
average,
tagline?
Yeah, it's on the top of the card. Yeah, I lead with it. It's the opening thing. And I don't remember exactly the wording, but it's basically the average business loses $6,000 to $9,000 in profit per each 100K of revenue. That's my opening thing, because I just want them to know
Is
that
there a reason why you state it that way instead of just saying 6 to 9%?
Yeah, because I want to make it real. I want to tie it to real dollars instead of as a percentage.
Interesting. Because I would have defaulted the other way. You're thinking that by saying for every 100K you're losing $6,000 to $9,000, you think that connects better for the average person? Is that what you're thinking?
Yep, that's what a chat says. That's what I think. I've talked to multiple people. They're like, "Oh yeah," because that's your dollar loss. We're not talking percentages. I wanted to make it concrete and real.
Yeah. So in my mind, you tell me 6 to 9% of 100K, I immediately calculate $6,000 to $9,000 in my head. So I don't know what.
Yeah.
To me, that it's saying the same thing.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, but you're not my average dude, Chris. You're not.
I know.
You're the 10%
Okay.
freak, right? So,
Yep.
yeah, because
Okay.
when you put it in actual dollar numbers, it just does something. Like if you want a discount, for instance, here let me show you something else. This is like some business psychology for you. Like if you want a discount, if you want it cheap, and you negotiate a price at anywhere, and you go out and you lay down physical $100 bills to buy that thing, I mean, man, that trips their head up. I mean, it's just and it could be $1,500 on a credit card, and they don't even think about it because it's just.
Yep.
But you start laying out $1,500 bills on the counter, and then you pull it back, that freaks.
That's why if you really want to budget, if you really want to get someone to learn to budget, you take away their credit cards and you make them use cash, because then they feel the money going through their hands.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it's so hard because so much of what we buy today does not require actual money to be moved around. It's
Right.
little bits and bytes going out on the internet, right? And so we don't see the $500 here. I mean, I look at some of the sheer amount of money people spend on, I don't know, on a birthday gift, on a whatever Christmas gift or whatever, and I'm like, wow, how can you spend that much money? And then I realize, oh, because you don't think of it as money.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's why Las Vegas is. That's why you go to Chips, man. They don't want you putting real money out there. You'll be like, holy crap.
And in the back of my mind, I'm seeing dollar bills in those chips. I'm seeing dollar bills in those bits and bytes. I mean, I'm seeing physical. Do you realize? It took me a long time to accept the fact that not a Happy Meal, a value meal or whatever they have went up to like $10 a meal, and I'm like, no. In the back of my mind, it's like, this is only worth $5 because that's the way when they first made them, that's what they were worth, right? So
yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you think that most people do not think that way, actually, and you can hack them. And I'm just telling you, if you want to hack people, man, you go into a store and the mattress is $2,500, and you're like, listen, here's the deal. I need it for $1,500. They're like, you're insane, and you start laying out $100 bills on the countertop. And you're like, this is 15 reasons why you want to do this deal with me. And then you start pulling them back. Man, oh man, does that jack with their head, We
should try that next time I'm buying an appliance or something like that. No, that's a cool. I mean, it would be neat to see how it works. The whole thing when you're at a car dealership and the salesman comes up to you and says, how much can you afford per month? I'm like, for me, that question is an insult.
Yeah,
it's exactly. I don't think about how much I can afford per month. That's not how it is. I can probably afford to buy the car outright. The question is, how much am I willing to pay?
Yeah, it's most people don't think that way. Most people don't. They're like, oh, everything's monthly budget, right? Oh, we could.
And we wonder why people have such a hard time with finances in America today.
Well,
when the economy's not good, this kind of thinking will help you make sure that you have money.
Yes.
Help you.
Yeah.
It's not going to fix the problem, but it will help.
Yeah, because what you have actually cashed, you can't go below zero. I mean, man, they'll bury you in credit these days, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So anyway,
this past several months, I'm feeding my bank account from a different bank account, and if I'm not on top of it, my account actually goes down to zero. I'm like, oh crap, because I don't have the paycheck coming in to feed it from the other direction, so I'm feeding it from this direction, and
yeah,
I'm not trained to think about it from that perspective because usually the income was enough that my
yeah,
spend never got that high, right? So
yeah, yeah, exactly. So then, anyways, I'm using every bit of psychology I can possibly think of to get them to say yes. Yeah, let's put it on the card, right? If it's too difficult, what if we break it up into 4 payments? I mean, I'm going to be doing everything that everybody else does.
I'm gonna go off on a quick tangent. Do you know
Okay.
this payment plan called Klarna?
I've heard of it. It's like the 4 payments or something. It's probably similar to
Yeah,
the other one.
basically it
Yeah.
splits up your payments, and basically though you don't have to wait to get it, right? So it's basically like an
Yeah.
alternate form of credit card payment in
Yeah. Right.
essence is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm like, and it got me to thinking about when I was a kid. And we used to have Kmart, right? Which is like a Target or
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
right? We'd have the Kmart, and people would buy things on layaway. And I wonder how many
Yeah.
people today know what a layaway is, right? It's like you would agree to pay something on a regular basis, a certain amount, and then at the day you finished paying for the item, you got the item,
Yeah.
which
Right.
meant planning, which meant discipline, which meant all that kind of stuff. But now instead we do it on some form of credit. You get the item immediately. This company Klarna apparently is showing defaults in payment of like around 20% right now
Oh my gosh.
because
Yeah.
people
That's
are
why the
having a
fees are
hard
so
time
much.
paying. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't understand. The rest of us have to pay for that because they're going to find a way to charge the paying
Yeah.
customers to compensate for these losses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Right.
things are getting more
Or,
expensive, and now it's financial discipline, financial hygiene is really tough.
yeah. Well, and it all comes down to discipline. All what we've been talking about all along, Chris, is discipline. And what that means is I'm not willing to um, do a short-term desire for a long-term thing because everybody's like, I want it now, and give me the dollar now, and I'll pay $2 for it later, right?
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you on this real quick.
Yeah,
Is it discipline or is it mindset? And I'm asking it this way because, in my theory, if you get the mindset correct, it's not hard to do.
yeah,
It's
right.
easier to do when you get the right mindset, which means it's not so much about discipline, it's about how you think about things.
I would think it's probably more discipline. I think you got to have the education mindset. You got to understand how much it's actually costing you. But I think the discipline comes in by saying it's like I can't have this thing until I actually can afford it. And that's
Well, no, I'm
that's
just thinking discipline in general, right? Like I don't like exercising and I've got this mental block about wanting to exercise. So to me, it takes discipline to sit down and do it, right? Whereas
yeah.
if I could change my mindset to enjoy it because it's making me healthier, it's making me live longer, if I change the mindset to where then the threshold, the effort it takes, which is where I see the discipline being applied, is less because I'm now reframing it. And I'm thinking you could do that with finance, you could do that with a variety of things.
Oh yeah.
So I'm wondering if with the right mindset, you can actually lessen the amount of discipline required.
Oh, I think absolutely because I think when you actually see how much it's really costing you, because most people don't calculate the real cost. Most people think, oh, I can sit here and have some pizza and drink 5 beers and I don't need to go to the gym and I get the pleasure right now. I don't think they're accurately calculating what the actual cost is going to be later.
Okay. Yeah. But,
So
but
yeah,
so I guess you're saying the same. You're reinforcing it. My thought here is that maybe the issue is not to get more discipline; it's to get the mindset correct. So it requires a level of discipline that you can put into
oh
it.
yeah, I think absolutely.
It's
Actually,
almost like I need to change my thinking. I need to brainwash myself. I need to condition whatever the heck it is, so
yeah,
that I don't need to build. I don't need to have unlimited discipline like David Goggins does. I can
yeah.
instead just have the right amount of discipline because I changed the way I think about it.
Yeah, I think you have to have less discipline. I still, though, think you still have to have discipline because I know some people will know the exact cost and I know exactly what it's costing me, but yet I still want the cookie right now. And that's a different problem.
It's a different problem. I mean, that's like your
Yeah.
smokers who understand smoking's going to kill them, and
Yeah.
but and they somehow convince themselves that it's okay still, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the big problem is lack of knowledge and lack of discipline together. Yeah.
Lack of knowledge, not wanting to accept the knowledge is a part of it too. So when you say lack of knowledge, I
Maybe.
think you're including people. I think you're including people who know, but for whatever reason don't do it. They ignore it. They throw out what they know. They lower the emphasis on it. Right. It's like making an excuse, right? I
Yeah.
know I
Yeah.
need to do I know I need to do the A, and I should be putting priority in A, but instead
Yeah.
I do B because it's easier and I can justify it still.
Yeah. And I
It's
think
still
there's a
beneficial to me.
combination. Yeah, and I don't know exactly what percentages. I think those are both interrelated, and I don't know exactly how
So
interrelated they
when you
are.
say lack of knowledge, I think there's a mixture of people who don't know and people
Yeah,
who somehow convince themselves to ignore their knowledge.
yeah, 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 exactly. It's across two areas, but they're highly interrelated to each other. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think
So, but then then if you go to that level of detail, you go, okay, this guy just doesn't know. This guy is confused, is fooling themselves.
yeah, yeah. He's just fooling himself. Yeah, exactly.
They're
And
both
and
doing
and
they're both doing the thing that. Go ahead.
yeah, I think we're getting our timing messed up because I think my internet is really goofed up. Yeah, I think it's a
Yep.
combination of both those. Some people are just fooling themselves, and other people just like, yeah, I know what it's going to cost me, and I don't care, right? Eat, drink, party today. I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well have
Well,
fun doing it.
I know what it's going to cost me, but I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to concentrate on a different aspect of it,
Yeah,
and push down this thing that it's going to cost me, right? Because
yeah,
I think that's where a lot of the money is, right? You know that you could go out and waste money on well, I say waste. That tells you my bias right there. Spend money on $100,000 car when you only
yeah,
need a $50,000 car or a $30,000 car,
yeah. Right, 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 right.
and you justify it because it's going to increase my sales because I'm a salesman, or it's going to be this, or it's going to you come up with all these reasons. But
Yeah,
if you were really weighing all of the pros and cons, you realize you probably don't need that car really.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it a need or do you just want it? Right. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
And we delude ourselves all the time. And that's why, Chris, we got to do 75 hard because it gets rid of those. It gets rid of the negotiation. And what I found out
Yeah.
is when I was doing it, even though I did 75 for like 6 days, that's like nothing actually. But man, that changed my mind so much because it freed up. I had no idea how much spin I was doing all the time, actually. I was spending more time spinning than just doing the damn thing.
How much time do we spend talking about putting additives in water? I mean, we were arguing, and we were going on both sides. Yes, we should do it the way he says. No, we shouldn't have to. Oh, what about this? And what about the other day? I looked up, can I read an ebook? Does an ebook qualify as one of the 10 pages?
No.
And apparently, yes, it does now, but it didn't in the beginning.
Oh, interesting.
And so
Okay.
apparently, in one of his later books, he mentioned e-readers as okay.
Okay.
You're still
All right.
technically reading, but in the first version of it, no, you couldn't use an e-reader.
Yeah. Right.
Audiobooks are not acceptable, but ebooks are.
Oh,
So, but
interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
so that was an interesting, yeah. So that was an interesting thing. I'm like, because I figured, hey, I'm sure there's got to be someone talking about this, and sure enough, someone was talking about that. So
And and it's the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter as long as you're reading. Are you off a computer screen or on a physical book? I mean, I don't think it matters that much,
but
right?
Scott, you're simplifying it to what is the direct benefit I'm getting from the act of reading, and I'm thinking, no, there's the secondary benefit of following a rule that I don't agree with.
Yeah, no, there's definitely that. There's definitely that. That's going right after the ego and the pride and the
Right.
arrogance and
And so, and that's
yeah,
the one thing, like you said it doesn't matter. I'm like, I think that is an element that does matter,
yeah,
which is why our whole argument on water, right? No, it doesn't matter if I throw some electrolytes into my water. Really, it doesn't from a health perspective. Well, I mean, might even be better from a health perspective because I'm
yeah.
not drinking as much water. But the argument here is the secondary element, which is forcing yourself to do something that you kind of, if not, you kind of disagree with.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up. I kind of missed some of that stuff, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, your picture's freezing on me.
Yeah, hopefully
But yeah,
Starlink will
I mean,
fix this. Yeah.
yeah,
But
but
here's my
the issue
thought though.
is,
Yeah,
go
but
ahead.
here's my pushback against that, right? Let's say you can go to flag A and it's a certain level of difficulty and you're doing things just because it's hard. Or I can get to flag B significantly further by optimizing my path. I mean, it seems like that would be the smarter move. So now I can go further with the same amount of
Okay,
effort.
this is you trying to justify that because you're discounting other things that you get by going to flag A.
What other things do you get? Because I'm going to go past flag A.
No, you're not. You're bypassing flag A to go to flag B. The thing
No,
you're
no, in my
getting by doing
example,
the thing by doing the thing you don't want to do and you don't agree with, you're building a resilience there to continue to find the things you don't like and don't want to do and even don't agree with, but you still do them. In many cases, you go, I know I want to get to point B, and so I'm going to do all these things which I know build on my character and build on my goals and you can justify that logically. But what if the skill is learning to do stuff you hate, learning to do stuff you don't agree with, and yet and yet it does get you further along? That's a skill in of itself. The fact that, and going back to David Goggins here, who runs 8 miles a day, he has gotten to the point where it doesn't bother him to do things he doesn't like. It doesn't bother him to do stuff that he may not agree with, but he find that he at the end of the day gets value out of. That's the one thing I think that you're missing by designing for optimized output. Scott, do something that isn't optimized and do it because it's not optimized and do it because you have to do it. Getting comfort over the fact that it's not optimized, but I'm getting value out of it. That's what I'm talking about.
hang on a second. Hang on, let me think through that just a second. Give me a second to think. Okay, I'm in that as long as that new skill gets me to somewhere that I couldn't get without it.
Okay, and I'm going to say it does, but you're not going to be able to tell. Not until you've done it. Not until you've gotten to it. Not until you've already mastered it. And that's the difficult part is you want to look ahead and say, this is going to give me this value. And that's why I'm going to do it. And I'm saying, no, you don't know what value it's going to give you, but you got to do it anyway.
Okay, I would be willing to do that if I have a coach that I trust.
That's fair, right? But well, no, maybe not. This is an element of faith. You've got to have faith that this thing you don't like doing. So, and that's your trust aspect, I guess. The thing that you don't like doing, and you don't even see the value of doing per se, is or because it's not as valuable as this other thing you got in your head. That in and of itself is going to give you value, and you've got to get the discipline to do that. And that's where I think.
Yeah, as long as I trust, absolutely. Yeah. I think that it's like, but I just can't wrap my head around, Chris, the benefit for me. This is specifically for me of drinking a gallon of water when it's physically harming me.
So, well, I'm going to stop. I'll address that in a second.
Yeah.
Getting the, I'll call it faith at this point, to do something is the challenge in and of itself, right? The resistance you have to all, okay, take the health aspect away from the moment. The challenge you have to all these things is the thing that you need to overcome. To accept, I need to do these things, right? And so now the question is on the health aspect of this. Maybe you need a month to get to the point where you can handle it. That is fine as well.
Yeah, right.
Right? Because you've even said maybe at some point I'm doing 75 hard or whatever. And that's a different thing than saying I'm not doing it because it's unhealthy. I think because I'm not there yet because my body hasn't acclimated. I have to do that. It's a different frame of saying it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, it's a different frame. As long as I would be willing to do that and suffer as long as I knew that suffering had some payoff to me. And you're saying it's going to have a payoff, but why do it if there's no payoff? That just makes no sense to me.
So Scott, why do you believe in God if you don't? You believe there's going to be a payoff at the end of this, right?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. So you need to get to that kind of acceptance that this is going to give you a payoff, even though you don't know what it is.
Well, that's why I said as long as I trust the person directing me to do that, then I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to equate this to the same thing as believing in God. You have to believe in this thing that you're taking on as a challenge. If you don't believe in it, don't do it. That's fine. But the challenge of it is to get to the point where believing that there's value in it, even if you don't understand the value of it, and to realize maybe, Scott, you can build a better 75 hard. It's quite possible you have the ability, especially with chat, to build a better 75 hard.
Yeah, right.
That's not the challenge. The challenge here is to do 75 hard. That is the challenge. Even if you can make one that's better, the challenge isn't that. The challenge is to do that one.
Well, see, that's where I'm going to push back on, right? Because my objective was to get more self-discipline to hit the numbers for Profit Trigger.
Then you
And
weren't doing 75 hard. You were doing something else. You were doing
And
something
75
else.
hard was just the solution to get the self-discipline. So I want the self-discipline. I don't have to do 75 hard. So if you can show me a better than 75 hard to give me more self-discipline, I'm like, well, I'd rather go do that, right?
Yeah, but it also feels like an educated, smart person's excuse to avoid 75 hard.
Oh, no, I hear what you're saying. It's like
I can see. Yes, I agree with you that there are things that you might be able to design better.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm like, that's not the point.
Yeah, and I still, Chris, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just having a hard time catching up to that because I could hear myself making that same argument to you.
Yes. Scott, I'm not saying that. I mean, I agree with you in many ways.
Yeah.
And choosing a non-optimal solution when I know there might be a more optimal solution is not in my character.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm having to force my character to accept something I don't like. That in and of itself is change and growth.
Yeah, 100% actually. But one thing I would do, because you mentioned your knee's a little goofed up, but I'm like, here's what I would recommend not doing is don't do the 75 hard on your knee if you're going to goof your knee up, because that's just stupid. Like maybe
finish and I won't.
Yeah, okay, good.
As long as you don't do that, right? So if when my knee begins to hurt, I concentrate on something else. I just wish I could do more with my knee.
Yeah, that's a different problem. Yes, right.
And sometimes if I do push it too hard, it takes a couple days to heal. That actually makes the workout harder the next day because I have more mobility issues, right? So I've got to be careful because if I push the knee too hard, it makes it harder to do the following days exercise.
Because you need to recover. Yeah. That.
And if anything's going to kill my ability to hold to the 75 days, it's going to be the knee, the workouts in the knee, the timing of the workouts in the knee.
Yeah.
And the one thing I know I'm not pushing those workouts hard enough. You were talking about cranking up the workout. I need to crank up the workout.
Yeah, because for me, I'm going to crank it up because I know that's going to help fix my diabetes. That's going to get me stronger. That's going to give me all sorts of like positive effects that I'm not even aware of right now. But I have faith in the fact because I've had so many smart people tell me more muscle equal better in just every single way.
Well, the muscle eats up more glucose, right? Yes. And so your body will eat it up if it needs to.
Yes.
The other thing is when you're doing 45 minutes of a workout and you're using enough muscle groups to actually burn through the glucose, that really draws down the blood sugar pretty heavily. If you did a 10-minute walk will help. But a 30-minute walk or a 40-minute walk is going to burn so much more, not just because of the length of time, but it's almost like being in that mode for that longer period of time is helping you burn more.
Yeah. Now you start walking uphill for 30 minutes, it's even better, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to increase that. If you go into cardio and do other types of things, all that is impactful. But I just one of the things I've done is I've gone from doing walks around the block to like 3 times longer walks because that thing gets me to 45 minutes, and that's my low impact is a walk.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
But because it's because of the fact that it's 45 minutes, I'm seeing it massively draw down my blood sugar over time.
Absolutely.
To levels that I haven't seen in a long time.
Sorry, Chris, I missed that. The internet thing is this is just becoming intolerable. Actually, the internet thing. And I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna switch off and go to my other internet just to see if I have something better. This is just.
All right. Shall I entertain with a song? I'll sing a song and entertain everyone.
Hang on just one second. So maybe
Actually, you want to
maybe
do a quick bio break?
No, unless you need to. No, I don't need to. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm on.
I'm going to do it now.
Okay, sounds good.
Are
I
you
just
on?
switched. I'm switched. Yeah, are you there?
Okay,
Can you see me?
I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good.
No change yet. No change yet.
All right. So, anyways, to our audience, if you guys are watching this, what's your feedback on this? I'm really struggling with this, and I know Chris is struggling a little bit too with it. But it's awesome. We're bouncing the idea. Man, leave this in the comment. Come on the show. Get us dialed in. And maybe this mental struggle that I'm having, maybe this is part of it. I don't know. Actually, man, please leave a comment.
All right, I'm back. That
Okay.
was one of the outcomes of drinking a gallon of water a day.
So I was just talking to our audience a little bit. So anyways,
You're clear now. Yeah, you are clear now. So hopefully it stays that way.
I just switched my internet, so hopefully this will be. It's just so intolerable to have crappy internet, and there's just not a lot I can do about it. But yeah, I think this is a great conversation, Chris, that we're having, because I know I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Well, and the thing is, we're really good at justifying things.
Everybody is. Yeah, it's not just
well, okay. Some people, when they justify, it's obvious they're justifying things.
Yeah, right.
I think we're really good at doing it at a level that it's harder to call it out.
Yeah, yeah. So one thing I've been thinking about doing this, as I really want to get a trainer, I think, because I'm just not going to push myself as hard as a trainer would push me in workout. And I know how important that is. I think it makes sense. And I need to find myself a really good coach that truly understands this sort of stuff and just can immediately just cut through the nonsense, you know?
Yeah. I've never used trainers and coaches like that. So
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm trying to get to a place that's a hard place to get to. And I need help getting there so they can immediately, because like we talked about yesterday, and I still hold this, I don't think you still hold it, is that the ego operates before the layer of logic, which means that which drives me crazy to think about it, which means you can't completely trust your logic internally. Like, you need to have outside references to compare it against is the only way to know for sure. That's why jujitsu is so good, because you can't delude yourself, because you can actually pressure test it.
You can't completely trust your logic. I guess I would agree with that, because logic, well, okay. Is logic something that stands alone and it has its pure, clean state that it can exist in? Or is logic something that is just inherently tied to us and therefore will never be pure because our biochemistry will always get involved?
Correct. Yeah, that's why you need other people. That's why you can't do it by yourself. You need, the Bible talks about this is like, before you go do something, get good counsel from several other people, right?
I'm gonna give the science answer here is, I don't believe you can't do it by yourself. I just don't believe anyone does do it by themselves.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Because pure science is, I mean, if you look at pure science, right, the scientific method is that I have a hypothesis, I run an experiment, it works for me. Now I publish it, and then, 100 other scientists go back and they'll do that same test.
And they can replicate it, yes.
And if they can replicate it, it's like, dude, you're solid at this point. You are dialed in.
And yet, all of this is experienced through the human spirit, the human body, the human mind, whatever. So I would argue that scientific method is still done through human lenses.
Oh, absolutely, actually. But I think the risk of corruption is significantly lower if you have 100 other scientists testing your stuff. And let me tell you something: those other 100 other scientists want nothing more than to choke you unconscious. So
Hmm.
if your thing is not tight, it will get
And
exposed
that's what you find
quickly.
out nowadays. People aren't doing testing much anymore. They're not doing the scientific method. Here's my theory. Let's go test it and prove it. Now I'm going to write a paper on it, and everyone else is going to test it. Right? Now everyone's doing meta studies of old
Yeah,
studies.
right, right,
Right?
right.
And so it's like, well, where's the new science that's getting done? And it feels like there isn't any. I mean, I'm sure it is, but it just feels like there isn't any. Now science is all examining everyone else's work.
Yeah, yeah, right. And there's value in that. There's value, but yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And the jujitsu part I really like is because you may delude yourself. You're like, oh, Scott, listen, I've come back. We're training jujitsu, and I lost 7 new videos, and I know a technique that's impossible for you to defend against. And I'm like, well, okay, Chris, let's try it. Right, let's get down on the mat and let's see. And as you wake up from me choking you unconscious, I'm like, well, okay, go back, watch some more YouTube videos, Chris. Or it may be like, holy crap, Chris, holy crap, you may be onto something here. Let's try to get more people in this. Let's actually really pressure test this thing and see how good it really is. And it may be that you come up with something really true and unique, and I'm like, damn, nice job. But yeah, I think if we're operating in a vacuum, we just that's don't they call it echo chamber, right? This is what happens.
Echo chamber.
Yeah,
Echo chamber, where you only hear things that reinforce the things that you already believe
yeah, yeah.
or want to believe, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I kind of feel for us together, if one of us has an idea, I mean, the other will go at it pretty aggressively. But even if we both agree on something, that still doesn't mean we're not in an echo chamber, right?
Oh no, it's just our echo chamber. I think is a lot bigger than other people's echo chambers, but it's still an echo chamber, right? So
Yeah,
we
and I
have a
and I think so.
broader
Even when you say that, I still get
range
like,
that
oh,
we
damn,
can
is
we
that
can
ego?
put our
It's like
mind
I
to. I
agree
can
with
look at it
you,
from over
but
here.
I'm
I can
like,
look at it from over there, but that doesn't mean there's no edge to it. There's still an edge to it.
yeah,
There's still
right,
a boundary that we think within.
yeah, yeah. Which is just why you need to have. Which is why the scientific method always has
You
external
froze again on me,
validation.
Scott.
I know, Chris. It's trying to reconnect right now. All right. I'm still here. It says it's trying to reconnect. I'm uploading. Hey, let me go back. I'm going to switch back to my other internet. Chris, I'm trying. Hello, Chris. Are you there? You're frozen up on me. Chris, I got good internet. I should. Are you not hearing this? Chris, Chris, Chris.
Ah, you're back. Well, maybe not.
Hey, Chris,
Yep.
you
Uh-huh.
there?
I'm
I had
here.
to like reload this thing. Oh, this internet thing is infuriating. I don't really have a good solution for it. So Elon Musk, save me with your Starlink, please. Please.
Oh, in Elon you trust?
I don't know. I don't know. I gave him some money. We'll see. We'll see if I trust him or not. See what the results are. So anyways,
Yep.
after that freeze up, yeah, man. So what else do we want to? I wouldn't mind ending a little early today if you're up for it. What else? What else are we going to talk about?
Oh gosh.
What do you got going on? Tell me how many 75 hard days you've got strung together now.
So I'm about a weekend because I had to reset last week. I think I told you last week I had one day where I had a late meeting at 9 o'clock and then I
Yeah,
didn't get the workout in. And the next day
yeah.
I knew I was going to be going to a high school band booster parents event. So I knew I was going to be eating unhealthy. So I didn't bother to start up till last Saturday. So I'm
Oh my
on my seventh day
gosh.
in. Yeah.
Okay. Oh
So
boy.
I'm
That
on day 7 right now. Yeah.
day 7. Okay,
This is
gotcha.
tough. I went to a networking event this week called the B&B event, which is beer and bourbon and business event. And
Okay,
of course, I
bourbon and
couldn't have
business.
any bourbon, so
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
around me is having these flights of bourbon, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh no, I'm stuck over here with my iced tea. I'm good.
yeah. There you go.
So
So,
water and iced tea was that day. So
so then tell me of your 7 days, right, that you've got. What have you learned? What shifts have you seen?
about myself,
Yeah, about
um,
anything. Yeah.
I'm getting better at recognizing my desire, my desire to get out of working out.
Oh,
I'll
interesting.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be I'll be I'll be going, okay, yeah, I finished this set. How many minutes in am I? Oh, 12 minutes in. Crap. Okay. And then I'll do a couple more sets and go, that's got to be 5 minutes, right? No, 2 minutes. Crap. So, and I see myself doing this a lot, right? So I've got to learn to just accept that I'm going to have to be uncomfortable for a lot longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find there's a lot of exercises I go to because they're easier, and I need to
Oh,
kind
interesting.
of shy away from those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, right, and then that's probably the number one thing. I find the photo right now. The photos is the thing I forget, and a big part of that is because I will put on a T-shirt like this for when I go to bed, and the next day I'll change pants, but I'll just leave the shirt on. And so I'm not taking my shirt off to even think about taking a picture of myself. And
Oh
so I
my
got to
gosh, and that's
force
the
myself.
easiest one. That takes like 30
It,
seconds to do, you
if
know?
you change clothes, if I change my top, yeah, I go, oh, I got to take a picture of myself. But otherwise,
Okay.
I'm like, I forget. And then the other day,
Oh.
I almost forgot to read, and I'm like, oh crap, right? And so that was one where again, I got busy at the end of the day, and so I almost forgot to read. So I finished this book, the one I was telling you about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the
The
yellow one.
the,
Yeah,
the
that sounds
radical
good.
the
Yeah.
radical leap. I
Yeah,
enjoyed this a
nice.
lot. We were debating whether this is fiction or not, and the story that he tells is fiction, but it all leads to his actual
That's okay. I thought it through.
plan
Yeah.
at the end. He has a leadership plan at the end, right?
Yeah.
So that was good. And right now, I think I may have mentioned I'm reading a book called Story Selling, which is the power of
Oh,
stories in
yeah.
selling, right? And he talks
Yeah.
about 5 different kinds of stories or 6 kinds of stories, but one of them is the connection story, and that's like the 30-second story you tell when someone says, "How are you?"
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, so I sat down with Chat yesterday, and I said,
Yeah.
Chat, I need to be able to tell these stories. I need to be able to come up with a 30-second story, and
Yeah.
it needs to be something relatable, and I need to identify moments throughout the day that I can do this with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yesterday, did we talk about this earlier? I was yesterday morning. My wife was talking to my daughter. My daughter's going to school, and they were going to she was going to have a picnic at school with her friends. So lunch, they were going to sit on the grass,
Yeah.
and someone was supposed to bring a blanket to sit on, but my wife wasn't sure that the person, or my daughter wasn't sure that person was going to bring it. So my wife said, "Oh, you should take the one that that Daddy has that he bought in Japan years ago."
Yeah.
And so of course now I get the request coming at me like, "Oh, can I borrow that?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, I don't know where it is. It's in the camping supplies. It's in the garage. It's outside in
Yeah.
the tool shed. I don't know where it is." So I go
Yeah.
out there to look for it, and I go, "Okay, it's colorful. It's bright. I'm sure it's going to stick out when I look for it." And it was about the
Yeah.
third place I looked for it. I found it pretty easily. And then so like, the story would be I tell that story and then I say,
Yeah.
have you ever dreaded something and found it was really easy because you were able
Yeah.
to I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be the question. That would be the story. But I identified 3 of those yesterday, those types of stories. But
Oh.
I used chat, well, like Claude, not chat, but I used AI to help me. I said, okay, this happened to me. How do I turn this into a
Oh,
connection
there you
story?
go. Yeah.
That happened to me. Because I can tell you what happened to me.
Yeah.
Articulating it into a narrative that I can connect with is not something I do normally. So I need to build that muscle. So I'm using chat
Yeah.
right now to help me build that muscle.
Yeah. See, that's perfect. That is using chat the right way. That's jujitsu, man. It's like, because basically it's like, I got a problem. This guy keeps crossing my guard. And then the master comes in and said, let me show you. Go practice this technique. And you go practice technique. You're like, holy crap. I
Yeah,
could,
I haven't told it. I haven't told it to give me a plan to get better, and it says, okay, for the first 2 weeks, this is what you're going to do. For the next 2 weeks, this is what you're going to do, and for the
yeah.
last 2 weeks, this is what you're going to do. And by
Yeah.
the end of that, you should be just a natural at being able to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. That is awesome. That's what I did the chat too with my 2 problems is everybody busts me on we're going back to Toastmasters. Sorry, people. Is that eye contact and I babble, right? Those are my 2 big problems. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to forget about the babble problem. I'm going to do just the eye contact. I'm going to put all my focus onto the eye contact. Then when I get that down, then I'm going to go after the babbling. Now, my hunch is the babbling will probably fix itself along the way.
Yes, as long as you can stay focused on the bigger picture. Because like
Yeah.
me, I think of something cool, and then I talk about the cool thing, and I get sidetracked from the
Yeah.
bigger picture, right?
Right.
And
Right.
for me, being able to not tell you the cool thing that came into my mind is hard.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
we're talking, and this cool idea comes up in the back of my mind, whether
Yeah.
or not it fits into the workflow or of conversation flow or not. I want to share this cool thing. And you
Yeah.
probably even want to hear this cool thing, but is it
Yeah.
really relevant? Do I need to share it? Is it
Yeah.
adding value for me to share it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I
Right.
think of that in terms of context. I'm starting to think like chat a little bit because it's all about the context, right? It's like a cool thing, but not in this context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to comment on your eye contact. So one of the things, I was editing our shorts last week,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so many of our shorts, you're like cut off like here, right here, right?
Oh,
And
interesting. Right.
so what the tool does when it automatically creates the short is it centers your face. But because you're cut off here,
Oh.
it's now pulling in part of my face into your screen.
Oh, I got that all the time.
And
Yeah.
so I had to reset that over and over again.
Yeah.
But I noticed it's because you're not centered. Right now, you're centered in the screen. And you did this for your speech earlier today. I have a feeling it's not going to happen much this time when we're making shorts.
Oh, that is
But
interesting. Okay. Okay.
so, because I don't have as much of a problem, generally because I tend to be centered in my screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if I'm over here or over there, it could be a problem. And sometimes when
Yeah.
I'm doing this, it'll be on the side, right? But
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're like this, right now, the way it looks, if I were to center on my face, it would
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
some of the
Yeah.
green screen behind you.
Oh my gosh. See, that is good to know. That's so interesting. That is right. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah. And then my squinty eye problem, Chris, I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I mean, my eyes are
Well,
just
like I
squinty,
said
man.
today, I forgot what you tilted your head forward slightly, I think it was, and I could see your eyeballs better than normal.
And I got
And
that
so
in a
I'm
couple,
like,
yeah, I got a couple comments about that as well before you mentioned that. That's interesting.
so I think that is a useful thing to know if you can find out what that angle is
Yeah.
and optimize for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and like when you're, I know when you're trying to open your eyes more, I can see
Yeah.
more of your eyeball. Like,
But it's
yeah,
very
that looks,
uncomfortable. Yeah.
yeah, you look surprised too.
Yeah. Good. I hate this. Yeah.
So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, so I think you naturally have a heavy upper eyelid, right? And
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
that gives you shading and shadow, so it darkens it. Like I
Yeah.
tend to have big eyes in general.
Yeah.
So
You're
and then
good.
when
Yeah.
I get emotive and I start doing things with my eyebrows, they get really big. So I think like that angle right now, right? Wait, just a moment ago, I saw more of your eyeball. I didn't know what it was. So there's something there that I think, just play around with it, record.
Yeah, I gotta
and see
record
what
and play
it looks
around. I'll tell you one thing I did from Toastmasters. So right now my camera is elevated up on a little block. So I have my
like.
camera right in front of my monitor. This is my default position that I used to use all the time. So I don't know if this makes a difference. And then here is it's on the little block actually. I don't know. Does that make it any better? Because it's
Yeah,
elevated up about another 3 inches or something.
go back to the other one again real quick.
Okay, that's probably, I'm just guessing minus. Here's the block I'm using to elevate, just by the way.
Yeah. So Scott, what I use is
Is it better with the block or without before you go on?
I think with the block is better. I use
Okay.
this little tiny tripod.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually a selfie. It's a selfie stick with a tripod at the bottom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then so what I do is I put that in front of the monitor, right in front of your picture. So I put your screen or your photo on the left side of my screen, and I raise this up to be just below your chin.
Okay. All right.
So now when I'm looking at it, I'm looking here at your left shoulder,
Okay.
but I don't know how that looks to you. Does it look like I'm looking at you, or does it look like I'm in the
No,
camera
I
right
can
now?
tell it's off a little bit, but it's not really bad. It's not
Yeah.
something
So
I would.
basically,
Now you're
this is
like,
your face. This is your face, and this is the camera.
yeah, there you go. Okay. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's so I could put it in front of your face, but then I couldn't see your expression. But
Well,
when
and
they
I may have to just get away with that. I may have to just do that because Jamar said, he said something that kind of stuck with me. He's like, it's not about you, right? It's about the other person. And I'm like,
the hardest thing is, I mean,
know.
you need feedback, right?
I know.
85% of communication is nonverbal.
I know.
So
I know.
you need the feedback, and that's why you'll look at yourself if you got no other choice. You'll look
Yeah.
at other people.
Yeah, I know.
So I really find it difficult to make sure we have eye contact. And then if I'm further away so that you can't see my eyes
right.
directly, then I get problems with framing and other aspects.
Yeah.
So I get his point, and I can tell he's looking at the screen and he's not getting the feedback from everyone
Yeah.
else. The other thought is, I told you I use my cell phone camera. I could put that directly in front
Yeah.
and maybe get enough input from others. But if a 2-inch difference of where your face is and where this is noticeably different in how I'm
Yeah.
looking at
You
this,
can tell.
then it doesn't matter if I put it in front of the screen.
Yeah, and so I may use my teleprompter. I mean, right here. I mean, I should maybe next time I'll try that. I don't know if you let me show you that. That's the I mean, you've seen it before, right? That's a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Maybe I should run that camera and try to run it through there. I don't know. Maybe that ideally that's supposed to totally solve the problem. Maybe that's what I should do. I'll try it next time.
So what you could do, right, is put on the reflection that comes up from the teleprompter, you could put the picture of everyone else, right?
Yeah,
you
right.
You could
But then I
display
can connect.
everyone
Yeah.
in Zoom, then their face is right in front of the camera,
Yeah.
and
Then
try
it
that and
totally
see.
solves it.
Yeah. So you're not using it as a teleprompter, you're using it to overlay the camera and the
Yeah.
Zoom together.
Yeah, I'm gonna test
that might
'cause
work.
that might work. That may solve all my problems. Boom! I'm just like right here. Yeah, I'm gonna test that because that would just solve it, and then I could actually have people, but then I could have text floating over the top of it. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Well, the thing with text I notice is when you're reading the teleprompter, the last time you did it was one of your Greek speeches,
Yeah,
and it looked
like I was reading.
no, it wasn't so much you were reading. It looked like you were robotic, like you were clamping down on the
was.
natural.
Because I had AI write it like 30 minutes before, right? I mean, it was
No,
just,
but so you're reading it. You're not bringing in as much
I
vocal
know.
variety.
Yeah,
You were stiffer. You weren't using as many. Like today,
Yeah.
when you were talking, you were doing gestures,
yeah,
and so it looked like you were clamping down on your performance,
yeah.
which made for a noticeable different performance.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I got called out all the time. I can like probably most people said, looks like you were reading, So I'm like, yeah, I was.
Well, and I try not to, like that one speech I did the other day where I did the hot seat speech. I was pretty much reading that word for word, but I was
Okay.
doing my best to put. I would
Yeah.
scroll it with the text right behind the camera, right, to try
Yeah.
to look at the camera.
Yeah.
I also try to make it more natural to, like, how we often look to the side when we're thinking.
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. I look around.
I try to
Okay.
build that into that as well.
Yeah, that's okay. And that's one of the reasons I started going with my 33 points is so I just nail these things cold. And so even though I get confused, I can always come back to a point. It'll tie me back into something.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to do that at networking events. So I need to do it for Toastmasters because ideally I don't want to be able to have somebody throw me a random topic like table topics and just be able to riff off of it for an hour if I want and just make it look like really good.
I wonder, maybe we should start structuring or have a couple structured table topics where we want you to answer in a certain way. Use this framework in your answer.
Yeah.
Take a moment,
That's powerful.
take 10 seconds at the beginning before you even say anything and think through, I want to do these
Yep.
3 phases. Boom.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And we can change that up. Like one week we can do that, the next week we can do a different structure.
Frameworks. Frameworks.
And then we can do the fun one where we pivot. Like you often like to pivot away from the question. All right, this time I'm going to ask you questions, and your job is to pivot.
The politician speech. I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm here to talk about the future. Boom.
Yep.
Exactly. Whatever. And Chris, sorry, jiu-jitsu, man. Jiu-jitsu is nothing but frameworks, right? Frameworks that have been battle tested for 100 years.
Scott, you need to write a book that's just about jiu-jitsu is life, or jiu-jitsu is the world, or something like that.
From a freaking blue belt, from a guy.
No, that'd be great. From a freaking blue belt. That's it. The author is freaking blue belt.
Exactly. That I don't know anything. So according to Alan, white belts are completely clueless. And blue belts, you're mostly clueless, but it's like you can see just a tiny bit. You can see just a couple things, but you're
okay. So Scott, this is a series. You should do one for each belt.
But I don't know. I don't know what a black belt's like because I don't know.
You got to become one then, don't you?
But Chris, you know how long it takes to become a black belt? It's like it is at least 10 more years.
Okay. You plan on dying in the next 10 years?
No, probably not. I don't know,
So you write the white belt version, you write the blue belt version, and you work your way up, and every couple years you write a new book.
Yeah, maybe so. But
and maybe the depth. Yeah, and what would be interesting, that old joke about the fisherman who goes out and fishes for a couple hours a day and comes back, and it sells his fish, and the businessman says, "Oh, you could get more boats, you could do more fish, you can make more money, and you could then become a conglomerate, international, make all these billions of dollars." He goes, and then what would you do, right?
And then I retire and I go fish. Yeah.
And then you retire and then you fish a little bit and you have fun, right? And it's like, it's the same life. So
I'm there.
I could just see you going the whole cycle, Jiu-jitsu is a white belt and jiu-jitsu is a black belt is actually the same thing.
Well, it is, and most martial artists say that the only difference between a white belt and a white belt and a black belt is you've just perfected your basics, right? And most black belts will tell you, look, I'm the white belt that just stuck around for a while, because it's so funny because when you're at Alan's level, for him to fight a white belt or a black belt, there's no difference to me. There's I will kill you both in 3 seconds. There's no difference.
You could almost argue a white belt is someone with no skill and no ego because they don't know anything yet, and a black belt is someone with all skill and no ego.
More skill, except I think the white belt has a lot of ego. The white belt has a lot of ego.
But you understand what I'm getting at. Because you've got no skill, you don't have the ego getting in the way. And on the path through, you begin to learn things, and the ego goes with it. And finally, when you get to black belt, the ego's gone, and just the skill remains.
And I think that's what happens for most professionals. It's like, what is that? The Dunning-Kruger effect, right? At the very beginning, you think you know everything, and then as you progress up, it's like you learn how little you know, and then 20 years later, you never get back to how much you think you know when you started. But at least you're like, I kind of know the basics at least now,
Yeah, you know enough. When you're new, you don't know enough to know.
Yeah, you're too dumb to know, basically. Yeah.
In the middle, you think you know, and therefore you've got an ego that shows that. And at the end, you know enough to know what you don't know, and so there's no ego left anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to keep talking about ego. Not today. I'd like to maybe wrap it up soon if you're okay with that.
Sure. So what? Last thoughts.
But I think ego is a big thing to talk about.
It is, and I did think a little bit of it after our last argument, and I don't know that I've changed much in my thought of what I'm. I still think, and I know what you're going to say to this. I still think there wasn't that there is an ego in the argument I was making.
Yeah, I got you. No, I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm not going to say I don't have ego. I'm not going to say I don't have ego because I do have ego on a lot of things. Yeah. Just, in that argument, I don't think I was. So.
Yeah, but see, that's the insidious thing of ego. And so this is like, so I could argue this, and there's a no-win position for you because I'm like, that's ego talking, right? And it very well might be. It might be.
You can't prove a negative.
Yeah.
Is that the right argument to make? You can't prove a negative.
Yeah. And I think, Chris,
I can't prove it's not. You can't prove it is. You just believe it is, and I believe it's not. So that's.
Yeah, and so I think the solution to that, Chris, I think the only solution is you got to have an external measurement to measure it up against.
Yeah. Okay. How do we make that external
Well,
measurement?
that's the scientific method, man. I think the method is there, right? You put a hypothesis up, and you have other people that really want to see you fail, attack it. And if you
Well,
stand up
see,
against that,
so the problem with that is, and this is something that applies to scientific method, is if you can get the same result from two different inputs,
yeah,
then then you can't prove that it's the one or the other is right in the inputs. So if the result is that I could have no ego and come up with that outcome, or I could
yeah.
have an ego and come up with that outcome, then then we need to refine that hypothesis to measure something else.
Yeah, yeah, it gets more complex. And I think what you need to do is you start digging down, right? Because now you're probably at the symptom level and you need to keep digging down to the root cause to find it.
Yeah. So
Till you get to the
what is
bottom.
the measurement we would have that says, see, that is where ego's applied, and that's where ego's not applied?
That I don't know. That I do
Yeah.
not know.
So that I think is the ultimate difficulties. I'm thinking I'm not disagreeing with the outcome. I'm disagreeing
Yeah,
with the input.
yeah,
And I
that
think
I don't know.
that's where we're having, and I don't know how to measure the distinction,
I don't know either. I
right?
don't know.
Because you
I
could
don't
have
know.
two people, that one with ego, one without, who have the same outcome in as a result, but the inputs were different. So
That's
I'm
what
having a
makes
hard,
this
yeah.
problem so insidious. It's so difficult. Yeah, and I think so what a lot of people say. In fact, I need to send you this clip. It's really good. You know the guy who wrote The Art of War, The War of Art? I can't remember who.
Sun
Stephen
Tzu.
Pressfield? No, Stephen Pressfield. You know that guy?
So not the art of war.
It's the other one, The War of Art. Then it's like
Okay.
there are two books, and they're kind of flipped or whatever like that.
Yeah. What one's a couple thousand years older, I think.
And the other was written in 1991 or 92 or something like that. But it was so interesting because he was talking all about the ego and just how insidious the ego is. And it's like, Chris, and he was making the claim that it just might be that it's impossible being a human being that we can't get away from the ego. It just because we just can't see, right? Which is so interesting.
I'm okay with that, assuming it's tied to our biology. Let's say,
Yeah, right.
biology, and obviously how we've developed.
Yeah.
Um, the question though is, are we all equally affected by it? And I would argue we're
Oh,
not.
no, some people have less ego than others. We're all
Right.
affected to some extent, but how much is the question, I think,
And,
right?
and then the question is, how are some people not affected? Is it biochemically? Is it that they've built mental models? Is it that they're better at reasoning? I don't know what it is, right?
Yes,
I
yes,
think
and
I
yes,
I think there are
yes.
different tools. So because of that, that's actually where I think that's why I think I'm less affected by ego than other people, because I think I've got those tools or whatever the hell in place.
Yeah,
But
and it could be,
honestly,
you could be, yeah,
how
yeah,
how do we define those? How do we measure those?
yeah,
How do we identify those things?
yeah,
That's the tough thing. So how much is of my belief is I'm to your favorite word, deluding myself, and how much of it is actually me recognizing that these are distinctions about myself,
yeah, yeah, correct.
right?
That's
And just
insightful.
getting to this level of asking that question for most people is very tough to do. So,
Oh, no, that
then the
question,
question is,
yeah, we're elevated a little bit, right?
yeah.
But boom,
So
you got to be careful
no,
because now
God,
the ego,
we're way up here.
yeah, that's the problem, right? Pride cometh before the fall, you know? The more pride, the
Yeah.
harder it's gonna
Well,
hurt, you
and,
know?
and we should talk about pride at one point. What aspects of our psyche is pride tied to?
Yeah, and I consider pride, ego pretty much the same thing, but yeah, yeah.
Hmm. That's an interesting thing, because I think they're tied together, but I don't think they are the same thing.
Yeah, I know,
I
and
think of
I
pride
know,
as
and
more.
you
I think of pride is a more of a negative thing, where ego is more of a agnostic thing.
could be, yeah, yeah. Because I kind of tie them together in myself, actually. But from the Christian biblical standpoint, everybody talks about pride, which basically means some version of, no, God, I want to do it my way because I think I'm smarter than you.
I think it's the bad parts of ego, is what I would say, because I think there's good parts
Yeah,
to ego, actually.
yeah. And the question is there a good part of ego? There may not be. It just may, Chris, and it just might be that is just baked into the human condition, right?
I think the idea of self-identity is heavily tied to ego, and if you don't have, and if we value self-identity, that's one assumption. Then we
Yeah.
have to value ego to a certain extent.
And in Greek, the word ego just means I. It means I, right? That's
Yeah,
all it means.
which is why I love the term because
Yeah,
ego, ego just means you, and
yeah,
what makes you you versus what makes someone else them.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Where was I going to go with this? Oh, let's talk about drugs for a second, actually. Um,
Okay.
because this got brought up in this little clip, is that Joe Rogan's a big fan of some psychedelics or mushrooms or whatever or ayahuasca, whatever. I don't know much about that stuff, but apparently that collapses the ego in a way. So now you can see maybe more. You can actually see clearer what's actually there. I mean, how true is that? Is there any truth, or is that 100%? I mean, like when I start thinking, I'm like, okay, that could be, and the Bible talks about from a practical verse, it says right now you only see like dimly through a mirror, but after some period of time, the scales will come off your eyes and you'll be able to see clearly. And I'm like,
So
that's interesting.
is this so I've always thought of it as self-awareness. So one thing I would love to see is a study of people who are considered more self-aware taking these psychedelic drugs and
Yeah,
seeing
yeah,
if seeing their reaction to those drugs versus other people.
yeah,
And I'm wondering how much of this, my ego, I broke through barriers or whatever that is, how
yeah,
much of that is just becoming aware of things that you just never were aware of before,
yeah, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah,
someone who is exceedingly self-aware and able to ask the hard questions about themselves may already be there. So is there a limit? Like that guy's not going to get much result because he's very self-aware, or is he so much further along he's going to go even farther than that person? I'd love to see an
yeah.
analysis of that.
Yeah,
That'd
that
be
is such a good question. And I don't know actually. It's almost like you can't see what you can't see. And like, let's talk about a Navy SEAL. They put their night nods on, all of a sudden, boom, they can see. And not total pitch black, but they can see in what appears to be pitch blackness. And
Mhm.
everything becomes not everything, but way more stuff becomes visible. And it's not becoming more self-aware. It's just like, oh, I just got another tool, right? I just I have a telescope now. I can just see stuff you can't see.
Well, we all have barriers we put up for a variety of reasons, and
Yeah.
they
Oh,
are
yeah.
the edges of our identity, edges of our
Yeah.
thinking, edges of our knowledge, edges of whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I think some people they get to the edge and that's the edge. Other
Yeah.
people get to the edge and says, "What's beyond this?"
Yeah.
And I think some people are very good at seeing the edges of who they are.
Yeah.
Others are not.
Yeah.
And so if this is really pushing the boundaries of you getting to the edge of where you are and then saying, "What's beyond this?"
Yeah.
Maybe this is the tool to bring self-awareness to the masses. Something like this would
Well,
help the masses become more self-aware.
that's what
Yeah.
they're
So
saying,
maybe the
right?
answer to fixing all the problems in society is to drug them.
I'm
Not to control them, but to free their mind.
that's that very likely could be true. Very likely because
May-
maybe you
may-
don't have it for a long time, but I know so many people like veterans come back with what is it? Sorry, I already messed
PTSD,
up. PTSD.
PT.
They can do like one treatment controlled. This is not recreational. I mean, this is controlled therapy actually.
Mhm.
And literally, I mean, it can just like for years, it can like just radically improve because they're like, oh, I had no idea. Now I see the connections that I could not see before. And I have a deeper level of understanding.
Well, and everyone has different reasons why they can't see these connections or see beyond a
Yeah.
certain thing, right? For whatever reason, that's the way you were trained. That's how you grew up.
Yeah.
You had a bad experience in life early on, and maybe PTSD is the bad experience that occurred. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but I think at some point when you're self-aware, you're able to connect across different areas, to push across certain boundaries,
Yeah.
and if the drug allows you to do that, then maybe it's a shortcut to self-awareness.
Yeah.
Because I think self-awareness is one of the best ways for you to overcome being emotionally reactive to things. Because then you start saying, "Hey, I'm reacting to this. What's going on here?"
I'm
Right? That's
reacting.
just an
Yeah.
awareness function,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's okay to have your emotion, but if it's an emotion that's not beneficial to you or to your survival or to your long-term health, then being able to look at that and say, what's going on here? This isn't a good thing for me to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of these programs. Like I went through one called PSI a long time ago, and people talk about landmark, and kind of the objective of these things is not necessarily to teach you anything new. It's just to kind of get rid of the junk out of your brain, you can come back to. I'm like, that's
Well, I
so
think
good.
that's a lot of the stuff. That the comment I made about trauma is the excuse to be as lazy as you are, as opposed to
Oh
trauma is
boy,
the
Chris.
reason why
Yeah.
you're as lazy as you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I make that comment, but I think trauma is that waste product. How you respond is one thing, but you need to somehow clean that trauma out
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
level where you can work around it, right? And maybe you'll never get rid of it. Maybe it's going to be something you're always going to stub your toe on no matter what. But maybe
Yeah.
you can get it down to the point where it's something you stub your toe on instead of a wall that you have to climb every time you come across it.
Yeah. 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 That's interesting. So hopefully, Chris, we can get there through this podcast without taking drugs by using like ancient techniques, meditation, yoga, I mean, just journaling, just to start to see things clearly, non-emotionally.
I did listen to a podcast this week. The guy, the behavioral scientist guy, Chris Hughes. You've probably seen some of his videos.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen a
It was
bunch of his stuff.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the
yeah.
one I saw this week was when he was talking about how people in power manipulate our feelings.
Of
It's all about
course.
feelings. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
feelings.
yeah, yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
opinion. Actually, it wasn't that. It was identity,
yeah,
right? So in marketing, you don't want to convince someone of something. You want them to identify something, and then all the thinking fits the identity. You don't have to brainwash someone to think a certain way. You have to brainwash someone into identifying a certain way, and then the thinking will follow.
yes, absolutely. That's why I call it identity politics, right?
Maybe we need to create an identity of the critical thinker.
Yes, well, that's what I'm doing with my message. I don't know if I can pull it up or not, but so I built what I call an identity statement. Oh, I can't get to it. Sorry, because my network's down or
Okay.
whatever. Um, I'll read it next
But
time,
yeah, I mean,
actually.
the idea, what are the skills of a critical thinker? What are the characteristics, the traits of a critical thinker? And
Yeah,
build that, what do we call alter ego?
yeah, no,
That,
exactly, right.
and
Yeah,
then we need to become that alter ego over time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yeah,
And
yep,
just being able to do that and see that and know that that's one of the goals, you can then do that for any type of role you want in life.
yes, correct, actually. In fact, it used to be a trick that I think one person taught is like you kind of make up whatever avatar you want and you put a hat, you physically transition, but you put a hat on. Like this hat
Mhm.
says critical thinker, and then this one says, like romance lover, whatever avatar you want to make, and you put that hat on, and literally that does a state change, and you train yourself into doing
Well,
that.
there is that thing called the six hats, and it's six different ways, six different mindsets, and they're all color
Yeah,
coded, and yet all the mindsets are valuable in business, valuable in life, valuable
yeah,
whatever situation. But you need to be
yeah,
able to switch hats based upon what the situation needs.
yeah. Is that why you have so many hats? Is that what's going on?
No, it's
No,
just something to talk about. I'm
something to
such a
talk about.
boring person that I need to give people an excuse to ask me something interesting.
Hats and ukuleles. I know that exact thing, and I'd love to wrap this up in just a few minutes. But can I just do one more story? Well, since we're talking, so there
Sure.
was this old my one of my mentors. He was in Vietnam, right? I think I've talked to him, and he when he came back, he said, "Man, I was angry. I would fly off the handle at a moment's notice." And he renamed himself. He said, "Jim used to do this. James doesn't do that. James does this." And he literally built a new identity for himself. And
Hmm.
then whenever he would start to feel that feeling, James does this. That Jim used to do that, but James does this. And he built that in.
So,
He constructed it, which is awesome.
are you building then the multi-million dollar business owner? Is that what you're building in
Yeah,
your mind?
yeah. I'm
The
constructing it,
A-
and,
the
and I'm
multi-million dollar AI business owner.
yeah, and I'm constructing it, Chris. I'm constructing it with these 33 statements, and I'm constructing it with identity statement. Yes. Yeah, and I'm telling you, it's affecting
Uh,
me because when I read that thing
Because
20 times a
it's the
day,
behaviors, right? It's the behaviors that matter, because the behavior, you know, what is it? It's desire doesn't control behavior. Behavior controls desire. Is that the right way? No, it wasn't desire. It was something. Um, Values don't control behavior. Behavior controls values. Was that what it was? Something along those lines.
I I don't remember, but I know I can't remember exactly. I should memorize this, but it has something like I'm a servant of God. Man, I'm forged through discipline. In these statements, and I'm like, oh, I want to go eat that cookie, or I want to do this thing, and I'm like, no, read your statement. No, no, no. This identity doesn't do that, right? This identity, if I'm given two roads, will always choose the harder road first.
So at 9 o'clock at night, when I'm coming home from a parent teacher meeting or a parent whatever meeting, and I'm driving by the fast food joint,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh gosh, it would feel good just to eat whatever,
Oh,
a
absolutely. Yeah.
quesadilla, a
Yeah. Yeah.
taco, or
Yeah.
whatever, right? It's like, I don't. It's not I need that. It's I want that,
No.
right? And so
Of yes, you
so
want it.
so
Yep.
now the point is, am I the kind of person who wants and gives into the want, or am I a person who wants it and goes, oh, it's not important, or I'm not going to do that, right?
Yeah.
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 Ideally, I'm the
Yeah.
kind of person who never even thinks about that, but I am thinking about that. So I got to be the kind of person who thinks about it and says, no, I'm not doing that.
Well, and that's why you build habits. That's the whole concept of you build habits, and then eventually the habits drive everything at some point. And maybe to start though, Chris, is maybe you take a different route home. Maybe you don't even drive by it, which I know is hard to do, right?
Belief does not. That's it. Belief does not dictate behavior. I think behavior dictates belief.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's this
Okay, I'm
idea
coming
that
off. Yeah.
if you act as if you believe in God,
Yes.
eventually you'll believe in God. Is the philosophy behind in that
Yeah,
idea,
of course. Yeah, of
right?
course. Yeah.
If you act as though you are a liberal or a conservative, eventually you'll be a liberal. It's the fake it till you make it idea. It's it's this whole alter ego idea. You build a character that has the behaviors you want to portray, and you will
Yep.
become that person,
Yep.
and you'll
Yep.
have the
Yep.
values of that person, which is what you're trying to build.
Correct.
Someone who owns a business, someone who's an entrepreneur, someone who takes risks, someone who learns, whatever it is you're trying to build.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what Clement's thing that's so insightful for me is Clement says, hey, it's all made up anyways. You're just making all this crap up. So why don't you just make up something good? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Why don't you construct the person you want
Oh
to
yeah, why
be?
don't you construct it? Yeah, yeah. But that's the thing is,
Yeah.
we're not taught how to construct those things. And if you want to think of it's a nefarious purpose, whoever's in charge of the world, whoever's in charge of your country, whoever's in charge of your whatever, is constructing the limitations for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so basically, from a marketing standpoint, I'm going to construct the person that people want to do business with. And first of all, I got to get my talking points. I got to get my language. Then I've got to go get media. And then I've got to write articles. And I've got to sort of construct this whole world around me that wherever people look, it's like, oh, I saw you on TV. It's like every time you network, you're talking about this. It's like, oh, you're the AI guy. Oh, you're the guy that patches leaks in small businesses. Oh, hey, I got leaks. You're the guy. I need you. And literally, I'm going to construct that narrative. And I've
Yep.
got to believe it first, and then other people will kind of just follow along.
Yep. If you believe it, that's often enough for other people to believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
I won't, because I need proof.
Well, and that's what
I
I got to
need proof
get,
that you're
right?
that guy.
I got to get
But
it. I got
no,
it. That's why I
but
got to get it. Yeah.
but I'm the exception, right? I need proof to believe you're that guy. Other
Yeah.
people, you just have to say you're that guy enough,
Well,
and they'll believe you.
Yeah, but I'm building the proof in though, because I'm like, hey, Chris, go talk to Bob, go talk to Mark. He runs this thing. Go talk to them. You don't listen to me. I can say anything. Go talk to them. Go look at their business before and after. There's your proof, right? And then if I start stacking enough of that up, you're going to be like, maybe there's something there. And at some threshold, you're going to be like, I'm having this pain. Okay, Scott, here's $5,000. Let's just see. I'm willing to take the risk of $5,000 to see. Maybe you can fix it. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I've got to get you to believe. Yeah, that's the thing. And that's ultimately in sales, Chris. The one who gets the sale is the one who believes more. If I can overcome your disbelief, then that's who wins.
but I think you can be successful even if you don't, even if you don't convert me,
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. But
right?
eventually I will
Again,
convert you.
because there's a lot of people out there who will believe with without all the extra branding you would need to do to convince me.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But I've got to stack it all on so I can, so I'm being prepared for pretty much anything that like happens to
Well,
me.
but I think that's also where we get all the crappy people out there, all the crappy
Yeah.
businesses and all the crap, because they know that they can sell to a certain population and not have to pay any kind of consequences for it, right? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah, right,
yeah.
right, exactly.
So
And so, because eventually I need to recruit you into my business to actually do the work, right? Because right now I'm going to do the
mhm.
work, but then as soon as I have enough revenue and enough of a story, I'm going to get you to believe, right, that, oh, maybe there's a chance. Maybe I'll take a chance. Like,
Well, and that's another thing. Like, I say I'm not a salesperson, right? And even though we all technically do some levels of sales and marketing in how we
yeah,
present
yeah,
ourselves, I'm not a salesperson. But one of the things I realized is if I believe in something, it's not sales.
right, right,
I,
yeah,
I, I don't view it as if I believe something is true and is truly better for you,
yeah,
then
right,
it's going to, then I will, then it's not a matter of me trying to convince you that it's good for you. I know it's good for you.
yeah,
The
right.
question is whether or not you can see it or not.
Whether you can see it or not, yeah, yeah, and whether it's true that's really bad or not, who knows? It doesn't matter.
Well, no,
That's why the belief is the
again, it's
crazy.
if I believe it's
Yeah.
true for you, it doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Yes, right, right. It's crazy. That's why this
Well, actually, I take that back. It does at some point. You get your reality check at some point. You get
you
your
get your
jujitsu
reality.
reality check at some point.
Reality comes up to you, but still it almost starts with the faith. It starts with belief, and then somehow truth falls out of that. And maybe, Chris, maybe the answer is maybe if we're defining truth is that we create truth, right? We certainly
We
create it for
well,
ourselves.
yes. So this is something that I saw someone mention. Um, yeah, truth is how you and I share our understanding of fact.
Yeah.
There's a
Hmm.
fact, and then there's what I take away from that fact, I call truth. What you take away
Yeah.
from that fact, you call truth. And if we're
Yeah.
lucky, we both take away the same thing, so we have the same truth.
Yeah, interesting. Because you look at like great companies, like a Steve Jobs or something like that. He literally invented the iPhone out of nothing. It just got poofed into existence. I mean, without him, we'd probably have a phone, but we wouldn't have an iPhone,
We
right?
had
And here's
PDAs before. We had PDAs before the iPhone. We
yeah,
had
but we
little
didn't have
handheld
an
computers.
iPhone though. That's
No, we
different.
didn't have an iPhone, but so one of the things that Apple has always been good at is taking someone else's new idea and making it appeal to the masses, making it easy to use. Their mega power is how do I get this so that the end user can enjoy using this and
Yeah,
can
right, right.
instinctively understand how to use that. That's their
Yeah,
major power. And
yeah,
more so than the iPhone, I think that the iTunes and the Apple Store, the App Store are their biggest inventions because they
yeah,
changed computers. We don't have floppy disks anymore because
yeah,
of the App Store.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that
And
to me is amazing.
yeah, yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing to think about, right? And then I really do have to go, Chris. Think about the stuff that we don't have. That if Steve Jobs was still here, I'm telling you, we would have we'd have something amazing that we can't even imagine. If Steve Jobs was still here.
You don't think anyone else has come up with those things?
Oh yeah, yeah, sure. There's AI. There's all sorts of cool stuff. But I'm telling you, there'd be something that he would come up that would be spectacular, just based on his
Oh,
track record.
I'm sure of that, but I'm also not sure that the world is any worse off by not having that.
Oh, I don't. I'm not saying it's worse off. I'm just saying that
Okay,
we would have this new thing, right?
sure.
That as soon as you see it, it's like, oh my god, of course. I mean, how could you not see it? But until you see it, you don't see it.
Well, and this is the thing, right? When we associate genius, genius is only a step away from being mad, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's very close. Yeah,
when you look at someone like a Musk or look at someone like a Steve Jobs, who was considered one of the worst people to work for,
yeah,
um, you go, okay, you're getting genius out of them, but what's the cost? The cost is that they aren't really nice people.
no, they're not really nice people. They're hard drivers actually, and I know that I've seen interviews with people that worked for Steve Jobs and Musk, and they generally kind of say the same thing. God, that was the hardest thing. It's like I just completely turned my life upside down, and at the same time, it's the best work I've ever done in my entire life.
Genius is not nice.
No, it doesn't have to be nice.
I
No.
mean, Thomas Edison was considered quite the cutthroat guy too. I mean,
Yeah.
when we think of all of the real geniuses, isn't Isaac Newton? Weren't there things about him that people didn't like? I mean, I
I don't
bet
know.
you anyone because genius isn't just being bright and smart. It's having a mindset to do something and get it done, and give a damn, not even give a
Yeah.
damn at all about the consequences of that.
Yeah.
The
Right.
average person, they come up with a brilliant idea, but they're worried about how society's going to act, or how their friends are going to act, or
Yeah.
how it's going to hurt their business or their reputation, and they pull back on this genius idea.
Yeah.
The
Right.
genius who's able to succeed pushes the boundary and says, screw society, screw
Yeah.
this is more important than that, and
Yeah.
is able to ignore. And then if what they develop it really is as great as what what they think it is, the rest of
Yeah.
us put up with their crap to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want more Elon Musks in the world for the genius they bring, but I think they're going to also cause so much turmoil at the same time.
But they move us forward in a way that we probably wouldn't move forward, you know?
Well, they move us.
Yeah.
You can debate whether it's forward or not, right? I think Musk owning Twitter is a move forward, but
Yeah.
damn, is it causing all kinds of other problems?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I'm telling you, I might be more of an Elon Musk fan because he might be the only one to solve my internet problem because there is no other options. And I've got multiple backup things. There isn't. There's only one wire coming in.
Your value of the other person is strictly transactional.
No, I've always loved Elon
What can
Musk.
you do for me?
Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much. What can you do for me? It's like I have a problem and you're solving it, and I just put my credit card in for almost like $500 just a couple days ago, right? Because
No,
I'm
yeah,
in pain, man.
you need what you need. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, if you, I complain. My neighborhood does not have fiber,
yeah,
and I'm in Orange County in a place that should easily be able to get it, but it's an older neighborhood, and it's just not
yeah,
worth
right.
their effort. The
Yeah,
density here is not enough for them to make as much money, so we're low on
yeah,
the list, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah.
Now, I would love to have more bandwidth. I would love to have a lot more,
Oh
but
man, I salivate, Chris, at other fiber companies that claim, yeah, you get symmetrical 1 gig up and 1 gig down. And I'm like, oh my God, what I wouldn't give for 1 gig up and 1 gig down, you know?
I'm right now. I'm tempted because I don't have a secondary internet provider. I just have the main one coming in, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I've been tempted to get a secondary one in here to go ahead and do some load balancing on it. But also, I can
yeah,
also move all of my security devices, cameras, all the crap that runs on it as a device, and just move it over to the secondary one,
yeah,
and
right.
free up more bandwidth on my main one. And I'm like, maybe
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'll do,
Or bond them
right?
and have a failover switch. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with it.
Yeah. I don't want to get too much into the networking side of things, although I may
Yeah.
want to, right? I've been thinking, do I want to create my own little VPN server? Do I want to do all this
Yeah.
other kind of stuff? Stuff that at one point I thought was cool. I don't have a media server in the house. I don't have a
Yeah.
file
Right.
storage server in the house.
Yeah.
I could set one up. I've thought about it. Maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe we'll see. I can
Yeah.
save my
Exactly.
$20 a month by putting all my files locally instead of on the cloud.
Yeah, you can spend like $3,000 one time to save $20 a month. Exactly. But it's
Exactly.
super fun, no?
And then I got to maintain it. Of course, I could also learn how to make a Raspberry Pi or whatever, all those types
Yeah.
of things, and play around
Yeah.
with other types of software.
Yeah.
But you know
Yeah.
what? I've been out of IT for 15 years or more, so
Yeah.
I haven't touched that kind of aspect of a computer except for my own home computer in a long time.
Oops,
Anyway,
Chris. Hey, you're breaking up.
yeah,
Okay. Can we wrap this thing up actually now?
yes, we are actually at 2 hours. So even though we cut it short, we didn't really. So
Yeah,
with that,
exactly.
everyone, comment, subscribe, please comment, subscribe, post, repost, share, do whatever the hell you want to. Just build some traffic because it helps us and it
Yeah.
makes us feel good, makes us feel
It just
happy.
makes us feel good. And maybe,
And
Chris, just maybe somebody might learn something from us. Who knows? Or at least be entertained.
I would love them to, even if you don't learn something, if it gets you to think, I think it's a win, right? So get you to think about something you didn't think about
Yeah.
before, or go deeper into something that you haven't gone deeper into before. I think that's the win because ultimately, your ability to use your mind is one of the things we want you to be able to do better, right?
Yeah.
We can do
If
better,
you
you can do better. And I think
Yeah.
in the long run, it will have an overall positive benefit to everyone, the better we can
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, that's
Right?
awesome.
And if you
Okay.
don't agree, tell me you don't agree and tell me why, but we can talk about that
Yeah.
too.
And then, of
Right.
course, make comments as to why Chris is wrong, of course, right?
Yes. We're not getting enough comments saying I'm wrong because we all know that Scott's the one who's always wrong. So
I know,
we
and
need
I'm
more
wrong.
comments to talk about where I'm wrong.
Correct. That is right. Come on, let's
All
let's
righty.
load balance
With
this. All
that,
right.
I'll see you next week.
See
And
ya.
all right, let's hit stop.